what's his name? He's in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. The fake rock star guy. Russell Brand.
Yep.
Yeah, he's fucking great in that. He's a rock star in that movie too.
Russell Brand, he's doing like all kinds of damn political shit nowadays.
I've heard about. I haven't really like listened to any of him actually. I've just like seen small clips of him with other people, so I'm curious about.
He's like all over.
Yeah.
Not Snapchat, but TikTok.
Yeah. I don't do TikTok.
All right, I think we're good to go. We're rolling right now.
We're rolling.
Yeah, TikTok. I wasn't on TikTok, but then I was doing all my research on how to make my podcast better, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta like make video clips and put them on TikTok."
Yeah.
And
he's done one.
I've done one.
He's done one.
Yeah, I've done one.
Do they get likes? Is it the same way of like other social media? Does it work like that? I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, there are likes, and like you can share it. You can like heart it, which I assume is the same as liking it. I don't know. I'm a bit of a TikTok novice myself. But it's good. I think TikTok definitely has its merits. I think it's entertaining. There's definitely entertaining bits on there.
Maybe.
Sure.
I also tried to just like rebel against it because I know everyone else is doing it. So I'm like, you know what? Although, I mean, I probably should be on it. I probably should be doing shit on it, to be honest. But also there's that whole China thing that I won't want to let them have my information. Not like they give a shit about me anyway, right?
I think they've already got your shit now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they probably created me in the lab. I don't even realize yet.
They got my shit when they came up with that app that made you look old. I was like one of the first ones to do that.
Yeah, they got your facial recognition.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've got Mr. Joe Conroy in studio today. Joe, appreciate you being in.
Thanks for having me.
One of the Drinkin Bros Tailgate Legends hosts. Yep. We also have the beautiful Laura over here. What's going on, Laura?
Oh, not a thing. Happy to be here.
You need like your own theme music when I introduce you. We're going to have to come up with something.
Brainstorm what my
introductory
theme song is. Do I sound okay? I feel like I don't sound okay.
No. Say something.
Do I sound okay? I feel
no,
like I don't
he said say
sound
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say something.
You say something.
Every time he says say something, I want to sing that song, and he got mad at me last time I did. He's like,
what, something by George Harrison?
That's that Frozen song,
say
right?
something.
Say something, I'm giving
Yeah.
something
I don't know if
you.
I've seen Frozen, to be honest with you.
You're not missing anything.
I don't have kids, so that
yeah.
helps not seeing silly Disney movies anymore.
Yeah, exactly right, yeah.
I think the last one I saw was Finding Nemo, which is a classic, by the way.
And that is a great movie.
Love
I
Finding
think
Nemo.
to kind of, I guess, retire your Disney watching.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they made a sequel to it, too, right?
But Finding
Dory
is just as good.
Really?
It is.
Is there ever a sequel that's just as good? What's the best sequel of all time?
Shrek made 3 movies that were equally as good as the original. Absolutely.
I stopped after the first one, Shrek, too.
No, the second one was amazing. The Fairy Godmother, stole the show. Great sequel. And then the third one is just as good. The fourth one, Shrek Ever After, not as good. So
is there a fifth? How many?
I think there are multiple
Jesus.
Shreks.
Can't let it die.
Which is, well, that's my thought too. But seriously, after the second, that was a banger. The third was a banger. And then the fourth, I couldn't get into it as much.
How many times can you listen to Eddie Murphy talk with a donkey and it gets old after a while? After the second Shrek, okay, but then
I bet he made a ton of money off that, though.
That's why you haven't seen him.
I know, right?
Had done since Coming to America.
Yeah.
So
which one? The Coming to America or the Coming to America? I tried, man, but it, like most movies being released nowadays, it was so damn woke.
Yeah.
It was so. I was like
everything else, right?
Yeah.
That's why they're just rehashing things. They're afraid to make new things. Like when was the last time there was a new funny movie that came out? Friggin' Superbad, Step Brothers, which was like what 10 years ago.
Yeah, you can't make anything.
Right.
Like that
That's the problem. Everyone's afraid. They can't even make TV shows and sitcoms now. They're just doing rehashes of that stuff, and they're doing a lot of game shows now. If you've noticed, where it's like. I think her name's Rebel Wilson, right? The chick from Pitch Perfect is doing a game show. And it's like, why would she do a game show? There's no reason.
I couldn't even tell you who she is.
It's just easy and it's cheap, and no one's going to, get offended by a game show because they can just throw them out there. So
No.
None are going to be as entertaining as Jeopardy. Alex Trebek, may he rest in
R.I.P.
peace. And Wheel of Fortune is a classic. Like, I don't know what's holding Pat Sajak together.
I don't either because he's
Vanna White.
actually, well, maybe, but he's like kind of a hardcore right winger, which in today's, Twitter society doesn't usually let you last. They'll find a way. Like, he was like a Trump supporter and all this shit. Most people don't like that.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised he's been able to kind of fly under the radar and not have that get brought up, but he keeps doing it. Maybe it's because the audience that really watches it is probably more middle America and doesn't give a shit about that. So
Definitely older Americans
Yeah.
are watching that.
The older, the parents and the grandparents are still watching.
yeah, they're not on
Wheel
Twitter
of
anyway, right?
Fortune. And I don't know if they're even watching Wheel of Fortune. I know growing up watching Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy with my dad, we rarely even watched Wheel of Fortune. It was just on until Jeopardy came on, and we watched Jeopardy. So I think that's really the only thing. They've got
Jeopardy's
going for them.
insanely popular, and it was obviously more with Trebek. I didn't really watch it that much either, but I would, like, even in high school, have friends that would, like, just get shit-faced and watch Jeopardy and, like, test each other out, and I was like, you guys really do this?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I'm filled with useless knowledge. Maybe I would have been good, but then I see some of the questions they ask, I'm like, well, I'm not that smart, so I don't know if I'd be able to get some of it.
So once upon a time, I did audition for Jeopardy.
How'd it go?
Oh boy.
Not so hot. I growing up in a very, very rural central Virginia, I was the smart one. So that led me to go, okay, I'm smart enough to be on Jeopardy, naturally. But then there's me and all of the actual fucking brilliant children in the United States who deserve a slot on Jeopardy. I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade at the time. So it was like the teens and kids tournament.
Oh, okay.
I did not do the worst, so that's all I can really hang my hat on at this point is I did not get cast. I was not called to, I guess, do an actual like audition. So they brought you into this hotel, they sat you down, and they essentially like gave you a pop quiz. So you take this pop quiz, and then I guess the best scoring quiz takers went on to an actual like Jeopardy audition. So I did not do well enough to actually do a simulated Jeopardy episode.
Well, I mean, to be fair, right? I mean, you said very rural, middle of Virginia. If you're the smartest person there, it's like kind of saying you're like the tallest midget, right?
Exactly.
I found that out the hard way.
But being, kind of sheltered in rural central Virginia, I did not know that. I was the smart kid in middle school and high school. So
I was never that.
But my dad's a fucking wizard at Jeopardy. It's amazing how much he just knows. He's a reader, though.
Your brother's a wizard.
My brother is a wizard.
Her brother knows what you're thinking about.
And he will shut you the fuck down
Oh,
if you
yeah.
are wrong.
I was like, how in the hell? This kid wasn't even born in 86. How does he know a movie?
It's
like,
amazing.
A small detail of a movie. That
Renaissance
happened
man.
like, oh,
And
yeah, pretty
really,
much.
no,
Maybe he has
Yeah.
memories of a
soul.
prior life. I feel like that sometimes, too, to
Old
be
soul
honest with
for
you.
sure.
Yeah.
Like the information he spouts off. It's just like he's a 21-year-old kid. Why do you know this? And he's just a sponge with certain bits of information in a very specific period of time in American history.
I used to be like that, too, and I wound up impressing more middle-aged men with sports and music knowledge than middle-aged women with my charm and good looks. So it doesn't always work out for you.
So you
but
were
it's
trying to pick up middle-aged women?
yes,
Your
of course I
knowledge
was. Why
base
wouldn't-
Naturally.
Why wouldn't I? I mean, come
Sugar
on.
mama?
Yeah, especially back when I was 21. Jesus, I mean, you didn't even want to
I
know.
never got into the, back in those days when I was 21, I think like the oldest was 28. I never got out. I never went like 30.
Not me.
I never went
No,
to a
I was like a
cougar, yeah.
43-year-old one time. That was fun.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, she's like, I think I was as old as her middle child, which didn't stop
Awkward.
us, right? But I don't know.
Did she introduce you?
Oh, no. She I came over when the kids weren't home. But,
Oh, yeah.
that was my my younger days. Now I'm just swinging and missing, baby.
Oh, you man.
Wait, how old are you?
How old do you think I am?
I'm going to say like 33.
Ouch. 28.
Oh.
Oh,
Usually I
no.
get younger, but thanks,
Okay,
No,
it's
I'm just
only
kidding.
been, like,
I'm just
5
kidding.
years.
It's because I'm so mature, obviously, you thought.
Obviously. Exactly.
Great job, Laura. Put
Old
him in his
soul
casket
over here.
already.
Well, it's funny because I love telling people to guess when they ask because we had Mama Ali, Khalila Ali, on our podcast, Drinkin Bros Sports Tailgate Legends. There it is.
Adore
Yep,
her.
yep.
She was awesome. That was a great show. She stole the show, of course, but beforehand she saw me and Tansy like introduced me. He's like, "Oh, he's, and I was really new. I think that was like my third show, so I was still kind of like, deer in the headlights at times." And he's like, "Oh, this is our new guy. It's Boston Joe, blah blah blah." And she like looks me up and down. She's like, "Oh, pretty boy. How old are you?" And I was like, "How old do you think I am?" She's like, 17? And I'm like, "No, I'm
Okay,
28
Mama
years
Ali.
old." She's like, "Oh, okay, then old enough." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus."
Oh, damn. Well,
She was
Adore
like
her.
75 years old. She was, oh my gosh, she is like
But like a
the coolest
smashing
person.
75.
Oh, yeah,
She reminded
absolutely.
me so much of my grandmother. I was like immediately drawn to her. Like the first time I laid eyes on her in person, I'm just like,
She had a presence to
we
her for sure.
have like this soul connection, and I was just so scared to approach her. I'm like, I am not worthy, is kind of what was going on in my gut. And then she actually like snuck up behind me, put her hands over my eyes, and I'm like, oh my God, it's her. Oh my God, it's her. And it was like an out of body experience. She's like, "You're the only motherfucker in here who hasn't come to talk to me all night." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, Mama. I love you." But yeah, I would
She was
absolutely
incredible.
die for her.
Yeah, she was absolutely
yeah,
incredible.
we met her at this like Brazilian festival thing at Plus Dual and Piano Bar downtown.
Oh, yeah,
And,
okay.
yeah, you should like get her to introduce you to her daughter. Her
Yeah.
daughter is a smokehouse.
Really?
Stunning.
Yeah,
I'd be a
daughter's-
little intimidated knowing that Khalil is going to like know though. It's like, "Oh, you want to take my daughter out for No, I don't.
And
I
then
don't."
she's gonna look into your soul.
Yeah,
and
well, her and her
worry
posse.
about
her
any
posse
secret
of
she's
bodyguards.
ever
Yeah.
had.
My God.
Some of those dudes were great. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk to all of them. There was one in particular. His name was Roan. Really cool guy. I was just kind of drawn to him, and he had a bunch of ankhs. Like he was wearing ankh like necklaces, and, like earrings, and I'm like borderline obsessed with like ancient Egypt and everything.
I saw your tattoos, and I
Yeah.
couldn't wait to
These-
touch on that. Yes.
Yeah, well, I still am, but like that was really when it was picking up for me. Like just watching documentaries, doing a lot of reading on this, and I was like, "Hey, man, those are ankhs, right?" He's like, "They are, my brother." And I was like, "Oh, even this guy's voice is fucking cool."
Chills.
So we had this like awesome conversation where I was just like, I'm just a suburban white kid who doesn't know shit about anything. I was raised on Jesus. I still think Jesus is pretty cool, but there's definitely more out there and, all this shit. And I was like, I feel like this isn't my first, time here or something. He's like, stops me and says, "Hey, this is not your first time." He's like, "You've been to very many things." And I was like, "Oh my God." And like the hair in the back of my neck stand up. I'm like, "Please tell me more." And we were just talking about like, I was talking about Egypt and I was like, "Man, I feel like we've lost so much, along the way. Like we didn't even know how they built those fucking things." He's like, "No, we didn't lose it. We just don't know now. But one day we will. It'll come back around." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I never thought of it like that."
Yeah.
So we had this awesome conversation. Meanwhile, I look over and Tansy's like fighting with two of them about cops and shit. And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus."
Here we
Like,
go.
I'm just trying to make friends over here. And Tansy's like, "No, that's not fucking true." And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus." But it was a really, really cool conversation. And we talked for a while. And it just like, I don't know, he was just telling me a lot of things that I guess I needed to hear at the time. Where he's like, keep doing what you're doing. Manifest this shit. He's like, everything you're doing, you're supposed to be doing. I was like, okay, whatever you say, And, I was really lucky enough to be in that situation, and be able to talk to him like that, and be able to meet these awesome people that I've been meeting, and things have been taken off with the show ever since. So just gotta keep grinding, and
Well, hey,
very
man.
lucky.
Let's cheers to that.
Yeah, fuck
to
yeah.
that.
Well, so we're gonna do something different on today's show. We're gonna
Just
take
for
a
me?
shot. Yeah, I knew you were coming on. I was like, Drinkin Bros.
All right,
we
I was
gotta
gonna say that's why I was
drink.
like, I gotta bring some beer with me.
So
right?
yeah, we're gonna try this new tequila, and this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's tequila. This,
Oh.
Terramana. Not like he needs a plug for my little podcast and with his billions of followers.
I know, right?
But I've always wanted to try this. There's two different types. I got the gold, the darker type.
Why aren't celebrities rolling out their own tequila, especially
'Cause the rich get richer.
Latino heritage.
Well, The Rock, not just Rock. The Rock is like so multicultural that he can just get away with anything. People are like, I'm not really sure what he is, so he gets away with it all, right?
South Pacific Islanders, Samoan,
and a
Filipino. Like
he's just a straight beast.
He's a cash cow.
Oh my god.
He puts his name on anything, instant like hit.
And I've heard great things about him, like off screen and stuff, that he's like genuinely a good person. He actually owns a house in Lynnfield, Massachusetts, which is just a town over from where I grew up.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories that people have run into him before, and he's just like genuinely a really nice guy, which is good to hear. You find these celebrities, and they usually end up being fucking assholes, and you're like, fuck that guy. But he seems to be a real dude. So.
Yeah, I mean, hey, let's bang this shot right here.
I'm scared.
Here's to cheers. Thanks for coming on again.
Of course.
I didn't clink. I didn't clink. Bad luck.
Clink,
okay.
clink. Oh, wow.
The best way to chase a shot of tequila with some beer.
Naturally.
Well, I'm gonna chase mine with Tito's and tonic.
Savage. So I gotta ask you guys though. You guys came on my show first. What did you guys think? Did you have fun? Is it what you expected? I mean,
I think it was awesome, man. We needed more time, and I think when we got up there, it kind of got a lot dirtier. It got a lot dirtier too. There was
that's because Tansy starting to get a little drunker too.
Well, I didn't help the cause either. I that's my thing. I got a dark sense of humor and shit.
Yeah,
so
I mean that's what
Drinkin'
Bros is. So.
We had a good time, man. We'll have to do it and have a little more time up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all can stand us both for an hour, though. Oh, my God.
Was,
about to find out, I think.
A very unusual setup. So, you had a limited window of time. You had a bunch of guests up there.
Yeah. It was a revolving door.
I wasn't even going to go up there. I was just going to let Mike go up there and do his thing. I couldn't have him screaming at me from across Brick House all night, so I had no choice.
And he would have until you came up, too.
And he would have, and I knew it. So I'm like, okay, let's just go get this thing over with. And it was not get this thing over with. I can't believe how long we were up there conversing, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Just shooting the shit, talking shit. It's what we do. And like you said, it's like a different sort of almost format, right? When you're at Brick House in Raleigh. Big shout out to them. They were great hosts. But we try to diversify like what we're doing because originally it was a tailgate show. The cooties went around and made everyone run and hide for a bit, so we couldn't really travel too much.
So you guys were doing this before the pandemic?
Yeah. So I mean, they started Tansy and Puhawk, Joe Puhawk, who's the chef on the show. He wasn't there at that last show, but he frequently is on our show. And I think they did maybe just 2. They had Willie Parker, 3 actually. Willie Parker on, Brian Holt. The strong man, and then they had Bone Crusher, who was like the first guy to go the distance with Mike Tyson. Mm-hmm. And I actually went to I might as well tell you the origin story now, right? Since I'm rolling with it.
Let's hear
it. I went to the Bone Crusher show. At the time, I was talking to Buddha, who was helping managing the whole thing, and I was like, hey, I see what you guys are doing with this podcast thing. I want a podcast. I can help. And he was like, all right, come be a fly on the wall, kid. And he doesn't know who the fuck I am. So I help out with Noel, the producer, who's, we could talk about ad nauseum in his own right. And I was just helping out, and, Tansy, after the show, was like, hey, man, thanks for helping out. I was like, don't thank me. I'm coming for your fucking job. And he was like, he goes, what?
No.
He goes, who the fuck are you? I go, I'm Joe. Like, I noticed you don't know shit about sports. And he was like, what? I was like, the way you talked about Patrick Mahomes, you had no idea. I thought you were supposed to be a sports show. And he's like, well, shit. Do you know about sports? And in my head, I'm laughing. I mean, he doesn't know who the fuck I am. But in my head, I'm like, dude, if you only fucking knew, do I know? Like, that was all I cared about growing up. Like, it was just ESPN on repeat. That's all we ever did. So I'm like, yeah, dude, and at the time, it was when Drew Brees had a couple broken ribs. And I was like, do you even know that? He's like, who's Drew Brees? Never heard of her. He had no idea. And, Tansy has a lot going on. But when it comes to sports, he admits all the time. He's like, I don't sports. I don't know.
We were talking at Instill Distillery, what he owns in Clayton. And we were having a conversation, and we were talking about the podcast, and he was like, yeah, man, I don't even know anything about sports.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second, hold on. Isn't the name of your podcast Drinkin Bros Tailgate Legends?
Sports, yeah.
Sports. But I guess the tailgating part is more for the cooking.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it started. And his origin story is interesting, too, with it. because he was a long-time drinking bro. I'm, pretty new to the Drinkin Bros game.
Yeah.
I didn't even really know much about Drinkin Bros until I get on the show, actually. And now I'm hooked. Now I watch every show, and, I fancy myself being cool with Ross and Dan and Jesse and all those people. But, after Tansy and I, exchange words a little bit, he's like, well, who the fuck are you? Let's talk. And he's like, that fucking accent, man. I'm like, I'm from Boston. He's like, perfect. We'll call you Boston Joe. You need to be on the show. And Puhawk was out there, and we were just outside of Deep River, right next to Instill, out down in Clayton. And he's like, man, you got to be on the next show. You can be our sports guy. You're like what we needed, blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history, as they say. So,
for those of you that don't know, Drinkin Bros is a Facebook group. It was established, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, about 8 to 10 years ago.
About 10 years ago. A lot of veterans are in this group. A lot of it's primarily veterans, but then there's a lot of other it's a more conservative group, would you think?
Well, yeah, and they have subgroups too, right?
Yeah.
Like these, the main page is what it's called now, which is a funny story.
It's a multicultural, all-inclusive network.
Yep, that's because
they got
drinking. Zucked.
Zuckerberg got them, baby.
They got zucked.
Zuckerberg got them, probably a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago,
yeah.
but they bounced right back as they always do. So
something about guns, too much gun posting or something?
Well, that one I'm not sure. I think it was just, as we know, Facebook loves to censor, but it's obviously leans one side instead of the other. And with
no shock, no.
I know this is news to you guys, but let me inform you. So they're, as most veterans are. I'm not a veteran, so I can't speak for any veteran, but I've noticed. I think it's safe to say most of them probably lean more conservative, if you will. Definitely pro-gun. They're owned by Black Rifle Coffee. I don't know if you're familiar with Black Rifle Coffee.
I just read an article about Black Rifle.
Yeah, Jared Taylor, Matt Best, Evan Hafer, and those guys, and they were kind of the the OGs of Drinkin Bros, along with Ross Patterson and Dan Holloway, who are still doing the thing now. And I think it was more talking about the election and talking about guns and this and that. So they took off, Drinkin Bros Main is what they used to call it.
Yeah.
And they took off Drinkin Bros Singles, which Ross even talked about today on the show. That, listen, the singles, I can't defend you guys. You were getting dirty on that thing. You guys getting real graphic on the Drinkin Bros Singles.
Yeah.
They took it down. We're not going to fight for that one. But the main page, they call it, got taken down because they got zucked because fuck Zuckerberg, right? And so then, like you were just saying, they changed the name to Maine, as in multicultural, all-inclusive network. And that way, it's like, what are you going to do, Zuck? You going to take down the multicultural, all-inclusive network? That's a bad look for you. So he's kind of, I would like to say stuck between a rock and a hard place, but I'm sure he's going to be just all right with all the money that he's got, right?
But it makes you sit back and think, how fucked up is that just by a couple of clicks of a mouse, or however they do it in Facebook land, they can just cancel you just like that. And, I have all these groups, ATB groups, and one's a singles group. And, if all it takes is, somebody to say up in Facebook land, this is fucked up, this is pissed off, oh my God, this guy right here, he's showing way too many dick pics or whatnot, and boom, your group is gone.
Yeah.
I literally had to remove one of my moderators from his moderator status because he kept getting flagged. And some of the shit he was posting wasn't bad.
Depends who you ask, right?
Depends on who you ask. Like the other day, for example, a buddy of mine in the group was called an animal because he was fucking a girl with a microphone. But this was
we don't kink sham.
There's a whole story behind this, and I get it. The question was, what's the weirdest thing you've had sex with your girlfriend with, or your ex or whatnot? And he said something about a microphone, and I get it. He's a musician, so it all makes sense. And this guy commented on that, oh my God, such and such, you are an animal. His comment got removed and got him muted from the group for I think a week because he said you are an animal.
But not fucking someone with a microphone. That's
Exactly.
That one got a pass, but
That one got a pass, but you are an animal.
Oh my God, you're an animal.
Yeah.
And
was that an animal rights activist?
It was PETA. It was fucking PETA again.
This is offensive. The resident vegan is over here like, well, how bad is this guy? That the animal rights activist got pissed off.
But getting back to my point about my moderator, I had to remove his moderator status because he got flagged so much by Zuck that they threatened the group. They said, if this could persist, we're going to remove your group from Facebook. So I was like, dude, I got to remove you, man.
Yeah.
And
this is like over 3,000 members.
Yeah.
And this is an empire that you had built over the course of 2-3 years now. So that's a threat. That's threatening.
I hated to do it, but hopefully he understood. I think he did, but I mean, yeah. Because at this point, you don't know what they're going to flag.
And we talk about Zuckerberg and fuck Zuckerberg again, but I don't.
This will be posted on Facebook.
All right, good.
In case you missed it, friends and family. Fuck
Zuck. But that's the thing too, right? Which I'm lucky enough to be a part of the Drinkin Bros Network, where they have one rule, and you don't say the one word that you're not allowed to say. I think we can all know which word that is. That's fine. I have no problem not saying that. I never say it anyway.
It rhymes with the bunt.
No, we can say that word.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if we can say that word here, so I'll refrain from using it. It's derogatory term towards
slang.
Towards African Americans.
There's no reason to be saying that.
No,
word anyway.
that's the one that I can agree with, right? With censorship.
But I'll call someone a cunt.
Yes. Oh, so we can say that, right?
Oh Lord, we'll find out.
Maybe not.
We'll find out. What we're about to be a shadow banned.
Well, the thing.
I mean, not that we need that kind of.
Well, we've been shadow banned, so.
I have to figure it out. What am I allowed to say and not allowed to say?
Well, this is a good way to test the waters, right?
I'm just saying.
Right.
Listen, it's my mom's favorite word. As long as I say it's my mom's favorite word, then we should be able to say it, right?
I mean, I only use it when I am, providing a very genuine and sincere compliment.
Okay.
So,
sure.
It mostly referring to what an excellent driver another motorist is.
Sure.
Why is I've never
to, some backstabbing, lovely, but backstabbing people, in my life,
They use it in across the pond a lot, I've noticed. If you ever watch
English bloody cunt.
Yeah. All the time, right? Well, that seems like you can use some sort of apparatus to stop the bleeding. But yes, I feel like that's definitely part of their lexicon is to use cunt plenty of times. But
I think your plan B is to come up with a creative noise to cover up the word if needed. So
well, I'm trying to figure out, and here we go. We're taking this left when we should have went straight, but we're taking a left right now. So I want to know.
It goes left.
Car crash. So I'm wondering, why is that word so bad? I mean,
why is any word so bad? It's fucking noises you make with your mouth.
Cunt and pussy are that's the same thing. All right, literally the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
So
what's the difference?
Yeah,
one looks like this.
So
that one
fuzzy
is just natural. That's
all natural.
So if I call a guy a pussy. Okay, that's kind of demoralizing. It means you're a weaker person. It means you're scared.
Which doesn't make any sense to me because pussies take a real pounding.
Well, so does a cunt.
That was good.
So does a cunt.
No.
So
cunts do not take.
They like it more gentle or gently.
No one's going near a cunt. No one likes a cunt. Everyone likes a pussy.
So is a cunt
not gay dudes?
Gay dudes.
And it's Pride Month, so
maybe might not. I don't know.
Maybe they just never tried.
Every single friend I've ever had is a gay male, so I don't know.
This is true.
They like tits, so I'm.
They also like making out with chicks when they get drunk. I've noticed. I can't speak for all gay men, but in my experiences that I've noticed, a lot of the gay men,
with any of my friends.
a lot of the gay men that I knew growing up loved to get drunk and make out with girls, and it was just like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's all good. He's just gay. And it's like, all right. I mean, you want to make out? I mean, what are we doing here? It's different if I tried.
So when I picture a cunt, I picture like
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and so like you call a guy, we covered. Like you call a guy a pussy, I guess demoralized, and you're scared. You're a weak, or weak male,
yeah,
or
it's
something
emasculating.
like that. Women never call other women pussies. They always call them cunts. You know, but when I think of calling somebody, men never. You ever call a dude a cunt? I can't.
Yeah, I call my friends sign of endearment, but it's more just joking around because it's fun to say. 'Cause
But
you're
in
not supposed
anger,
to
you
say
never
it.
go, "You cunt, fuck you,
It's a
cunt."
great word.
Yeah.
You know,
But no, when
but
you are
when I think of
actively attacking another individual and you're calling them a cunt, this is someone no one likes. This is rancid vagina.
because cunt sounds like swollen pussy with
Yeah.
infectious disease on it.
Exactly.
it
No
does.
one's
Yeah.
getting near that. No one's touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Just like no searchers are going to find us on YouTube because we're
Just-
shadow banned after this episode.
Hey, we're shadow banned too.
I'm just providing much needed clarity here. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not going to, never have I ever called anyone that I've known or loved or appreciated a cunt.
Oh, I
Cunt
have.
Cunt's reserved for like an absolute imbecile.
Yeah.
Oh, cunt's that instant igniting word to throw blows.
Mm-hmm.
Like you call somebody a cunt, it's over. Boom.
Because nobody
Call
likes
Bruce
a
Buffer,
cunt.
Michael Buffer. It's ready to rumble.
There's a vast majority of people out there who love pussy. Even if it's used to emasculate other individuals, everyone loves pussy. No one loves cunt.
Except for the English. I bet they say, "I want some of that bloody cunt." I guarantee we can find a soundbite somewhere.
Would you want it to be bloody? I believe they call it a pizza face. I used to hear that term.
Yeah, you might not want a bloody
If a
cunt.
woman gets her period while you're eating her out, for lack of better terms.
No, that's blood wings, right? Yeah.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said it's never happened to me before. I mean, since we're talking about cunts and stuff, I mean, it's definitely
Oh
happened to me.
God,
so.
I got
Wow.
stories to tell. but-
Me too. We getting into that? Jesus.
How much more? We need to take another shot of Terramana.
Where hammered has
So,
never
so
gone before.
what were we talking about again? Oh yeah, so Drinkin Bros podcast.
Well, by the way, I'm not a big tequila guy, you know,
But that was
like
smooth.
Jose. But this Terramana, this was real smooth. You did
Yeah.
a good job, Rock. You did a good job,
Dwayne.
But yeah, dude, how about you lived your whole life going by a noun? You're called a noun your whole life, and it's good.
And I know, and it's not even
I mean-
a cool one. Now it's like cool to be The Rock, but if like before he was cool, it's like we're gonna call you The Rock. It's like
The Rock,
a rock.
not a rock, not the Rock.
It's like okay, not the Stone, not like something super cool, like
Well,
anything else other than a friggin' rock.
Around that time, Stone was already kind of, publicized. You
Like
had
Stone Gossard?
You had Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yeah, that's
that was
right.
already
okay.
taken. You can't have Dwayne the Stone Johnson when you also have Stone Cold
Yeah,
Steve Austin.
sure. And to be fair, I'm never really grew up on wrestling either. I honestly, the Rock story is interesting because I know his dad was like a wrestler, but then he went and played football at the U, right, at Miami. And I think injuries is what plagued him, and he didn't.
You gotta
make it to the
watch
next level.
Young Rock. Have you watched Young Rock?
I'm not a TV guy, to be honest.
Me either, unless it's something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I was anxious just to see who they cast to play all these other wrestlers. Like they cast this dude to play Andre the Giant.
Oh, really?
It almost
Okay.
looked just like him back in his younger
interesting.
days.
So it's like really like his coming of age story.
Yeah, it's his
Interesting.
complete. It's a real good watch, man. The guy that plays Rocky Johnson, his dad, looks just fucking like him. It's incredible.
What
to me.
network is it on?
NBC.
Wow, that's surprising. I
Yeah,
mean, when was
really
the? I
surprising.
mean, you say that show's good. Take that one out. When was the last time like a network show was must see TV? Like I know a lot of people like The Masked Singer and that bullshit, American Idol bullshit, but like
that's
nothing. I feel
bullshit.
like nothing nowadays. I mean, I didn't watch it live when it came up, but like Lost comes into my mind, where that was like dramatic must see TV on a network channel. Where it's
Yeah.
like that's kind of dead. Nobody like tunes in. It's all YouTube, Spotify, or other ways of Netflix, even Hulu. All the different platforms you have. Network TV is really struggling. That's why we were saying in the beginning, right? Where they have all these game shows now. I don't know what else to do.
I still tune into Law and Order SVU.
Oh Jesus! You're one of those people. I've never seen a single episode, but every little.
Christopher Maloney.
She's got a thing for that dude.
I do.
I don't know why.
I don't even know who it
It's,
is, to be honest with
So
you.
sexy.
Is that the one with Ice-T on it? We used to talk about killing cops, and then he plays a cop. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
My man's Asian bad too.
He was-
Oh man.
He was a great cop in SVU. I think he still is there. And Olivia Benson, like absolute like goals. Who doesn't want to grow up and be Olivia Benson?
Me, because I don't know who she is. But if she has money, maybe I'll take it. I mean, I could use some money.
I don't know who
Marissa
this Olivia
Martin.
Benson
Yeah, it
is.
is. All those shows are the same to me. Like, it's always the boyfriend. It's like a Lifetime movie. Let me just, spoiler alert, it's the boyfriend of the husband. It's always the case. 'Cause white women are obsessed, though, with murder. let's be honest here. Jessie Wiseman, the first lady of Drinkin Bros, has her little crime corner, and she admits all the time white women love serial killers, murders, and all that type of. It's just a thing. I don't know if that's racist or something.
I don't know. I can watch Netflix all week long. As a matter of fact, I think I've watched all the serial killer documentaries. I love that shit.
I was gonna say, like, you fall under that stereotype more than I do because I live alone for a long time. I traveled alone. I've lived alone for a long time, and watching shit about serial killers did not do it for me. I like to sleep at night. I like to pretend.
I watched the Ted Bundy one. That was pretty good.
That was a good one too. Yeah, I've seen that.
And then even the movie with Zac Efron playing him, which was very surprising. I guess not though, because Ted Bundy was kind of handsome and charming, I guess, in his day, right? But I was like Zac Efron, and it was kind of a weird twist.
He was handsome. He was charming.
Smart as fuck.
Yes.
Wicked smart.
Speaking of Lost, Bad Robot, those guys that made that.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams company.
They're coming out with the Jeffrey Dahmer one.
Oh, really?
And it's basically the people that were in American Horror Story.
Oh, okay.
Are in that. Because I think Bad Robot did American Horror Story, too. Don't they have something? They got their hands in that.
I think I watched the first 3 American Horror Stories. The first season was my favorite, the Murder House. Right, that's the best one.
Definitely.
It got a little goofy towards, like, I remember starting the 4th season and being like, all right, it's kind of goofy for me.
Which one was the 4th one?
I think it was the Witches one, if I remember.
Coven.
Yeah.
Was it Coven?
Coven was the 3rd.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. There's too many. I got all mixed up.
I know, but
maybe it was the first 2 that I watched then.
Let me ask my producer to look it up.
Jamie, pull this up.
Yeah.
They have Jamie pull this up T-shirts that I saw, and it's like a UFO pulling someone up. And I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. Let me go on Rogan's website and order them. All sold out. So disappointed. I was like, well, why would this be sold out? Nobody listens to Rogan but me, right? I must be the only one.
I mean, you could probably say that about maybe 8 years ago.
Yeah, no. Even
Still
further
then,
along that. I mean, it's crazy. His whole career. You gave him Drinkin Bro of the Week as your biggest sort of podcast and inspiration. I mean, he's obviously mine too. I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan, but one of my sort of inspirations or guys I look up to is more of a local guy. He actually has a podcast now with Barstool, but he originally was this local WEEI, the Red Sox station, in Boston. This guy, Kirk Minahan, who actually did Barstool's first true crime podcast too. But he's got his own. His biggest influence is Howard Stern, and you can obviously tell by watching the show or listening to his show. He has Stern references and Stern sort of, inspirations to his show. But
just so we don't lose track of this American Horror Story thing, so season 4 was the carnival.
Which one was the
show.
Insane Asylum one? I think maybe that was.
Maybe it was season 3. Bitchcraft was the first episode, so I'm thinking.
Yeah, that was the witch one, right?
Okay, so yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, and the chick had a vagina that like killed dudes, right? Isn't that?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
That is goals.
Well, wasn't there a movie called Teeth? And
yes, there was.
Yeah, that was a wild one too, huh? I mean, Jesus.
What? I don't know if I don't think I've ever seen that one. But have you seen the one about the killer tire?
No, but I've heard of it. It's so
fucking
silly.
But it's the weirdest thing ever. His tire just rolls around.
It's like
kills people.
It's like a parody of a Stephen King movie, right? I mean, it's like it's not a car or a dog this time. It's just the tire.
Yeah. All right. So
presented by Goodyear.
So what takes out the tire? Spoiler alert. How
a nail.
I don't think anything takes out the tire.
The tire takes out you.
It takes out the whole fucking state.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I think Dane Cook had a bit tire in the face. I remember when Dane Cook was a thing, especially around Boston. For like a short little 5-year spurt, people loved Dane Cook where I was, and then he fizzled out real quick.
That was a comedy in 1976 called Rubber.
Oh, so it was a comedy.
It was a comedy, so yeah, you weren't supposed to
hard
like,
to tell
take this
sometimes.
serious
So
when you watched it.
weren't actually supposed to be scared of the tire killing you. Sorry, Joe.
Just a tire bounce.
Joe, we're all
It
over the
sounds
place,
like
bro.
He still
Hey.
has nightmares about the tire.
I'm familiar with being all over the place. Again, I do a podcast with Eric Tanzi, so I know all about being all over the place. Okay.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: is it different being on that side as opposed to being on this side?
As
you know,
I don't know. I thought it might be, but it's like, what? I mean, if you don't think of it like that,
Yeah.
You're just fucking shooting the shit, right? I mean, that's what a lot of these podcasts are. I mean, if you want to interview me formally and ask me all these questions, I'm up for it. But it's like a lot of times it's like the best conversations and the best podcasts I listen to, like Rogan, right, is you're actually being a fly on the wall of just a conversation you would love to hear, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Rogan's had him on a bunch of times. I love me some Neil deGrasse Tyson because he's obviously way too smart for me. I have no idea, like, and I have to go back 15. Let me listen to that one more time. But he does a great job of sort of not simplifying it, but making it fun and cool to listen to. So, he's not, all right, Rogan, I don't think, at least, has like these outlines of these are the questions I need to ask. They're just talking, shooting the shit, and going here, there, and everywhere. And I think that's the best way to kind of do it. That's kind of how me and Tansy do it. We talk about getting a little bit more structured, but every time we do, it ends up going off the rails.
So when I started podcasting, I did a lot of research, and everybody said structure your podcast. But then, I started listening to Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch podcast and Joe Rogan, and man, these guys aren't structured. And when you don't have structure and you just go into the flow and have a conversation, I think it works better.
Yeah.
And talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson, I just listened to his audiobook Origins, and let me tell you, listening to him on Rogan is so much better than listening to one of his audiobooks because you want to feel stupid. Listen to a book. So I listened to Stephen Hawking's book on A Brief History of Time, and I listened to this Neil deGrasse Tyson book, and I felt like an idiot afterwards. Right. I was like, I just listened to 13 hours of audio, but twice.
And I have no idea what I just learned.
I have no idea what I just listened to.
Right, yeah. For sure.
And we just listened to a Rogan podcast on the way back from Virginia Beach, and Rogan was crying. He was crying on this one.
That wasn't Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No.
Her name was Carol
Hoover. Yeah.
The ironic part is my mom, who always gets referenced on our fucking show, she might as well be referenced on this one, right? Yeah. My mom sent me it. Yeah. And, like, she listens to my podcast. When I first did my podcast, she's like, what channel can I hear you on? It's like, no, it's not. You're not on the radio? I'm like, no, Mom, I'll just send you a link. You just click on it. But anyway, she actually went to high school with that woman in Weston, Massachusetts, which is the richest town in Massachusetts.
Oh, my gosh, she's so sensitive. That girl was, like, crying.
So funny, though. But, Rogan kind of is, too. And, I'm a mama's boy, so I'm a little sensitive, too. Yeah. So I'm listening to it, and I'm chuckling because I'm, like, walking my dog, listening to it. And Rogan's like, I'm getting choked up right now because just the passion in UFC. And it's just it's so funny. But the thing about Rogan is, he gets shit for, like, he's a toxic masculinity. Is everything wrong with men nowadays? When get fucked, he's crying with this woman talking about gender equality over here. So like, he's the best. He's so well rounded and able to look from both sides. But that was an interesting one too, though, when they get into that whole the trans athletes and all that shit that's going on in the world.
Rogan is one intelligent motherfucker.
He is.
Like, you sit and listen to him, and you're thinking, okay, Rogan's 53. I'm 45. I'm like, oh, my God, can I learn that much in 8 years?
Well, if you talk to the people he talks to all the time, you might.
But he knows some of everything. Like, the shit that he pulls out of his head that he remembers from, like, a podcast 2 years ago is amazing to me.
And that's why he's so good at it, right?
Yeah, that's why he's got the billions, the millions with Spotify.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But Spotify tried to censor him a little bit, going back to our fuck Zuck thing, right? Is like, I think it was Milo Yiannopoulos, a couple Alex Jones ones, maybe a Ben Shapiro, and maybe there was one more. I can't remember. But and it was basically just a couple woke millennial assholes who work at Spotify complaining to the overlords at Spotify, and they pulled those down. And that's the one thing that I will, to play fair, give Rogan a little bit of shit for, is speak up about that, dude. Talk about it. Even
he does too, yeah.
He does, but not to the point where it's like, I would almost like him to just address. He kind of talks about it a little bit, and he talks about, like, listen, I just do my show, and they put it up, and this and that. And he still has people like Alex Jones and Tim Dillon and all these other people on there that usually have to go the Patreon route. But I just wish that he would almost do like an Instagram video, right? And like, listen, I know that you guys have been loyal listeners and loyal followers of me. I do know that there have been episodes that have been taken down since I've gone to Spotify. And like, I just want to hear what he has to say about that. I like, because he is a big fan of the First and Second Amendment. So for him to basically get censored and then get paid and doesn't really speak up about it as much as I would like him to. That's the one knock I have on him. You know, nobody's perfect, but I wish that he would address that a little bit more because it's kind of bullshit. If I'm Rogan, I'm like, I'm, you know, these influencers and whatever they call themselves. He's a fucking huge influence.
He's got power like LeBron James has.
Yeah, but fuck LeBron too.
But fuck, well, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Fuck LeBron, okay.
He's like,
but he's got that platform. He's got them followers, and he's got that money with him.
Sure does.
You know, he's got that. He's like The Rock, man. He brings it, okay, to the podcast industry. You put Joe Rogan's name on Spotify because, man, one episode of like a, I don't know, I can't think of a good example of somebody that's like a low-tier guest, but it still gets 6 figures in views, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson's over like 1 million, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he does talk. He talked about Alex Jones, and you know who Alex Jones is?
No.
He's like this crazy conspiracy
Turn the frogs
theorist.
gay.
I cannot. I don't have a good voice for it.
He's wild in Alex Jones, right? And
Yeah,
you can go on and on about fucking Alex Jones. And he's been looked at.
I will not be fucking Alex Jones.
But he's been looked at, you know, he's been censored more than anyone else. He was against Bush with 9/11 and the Iraq War, called him out on all of his bullshit, war criminal and all this. And then people like, fuck him. And then he comes out and says, fuck Hillary because this and that. And, now he's an alt-right guy, where it's like he was talking about fuck George Bush just not that long ago. Yeah. And the thing is, he's been wrong on a lot of things. Don't get me wrong.
He's been right on a lot too.
He's been right on more things.
Things. That's Joe Rogan even came out and went to bat for him, saying, you know what, guys, he has some bad shit ideas. He's wrong on some things, but he's definitely right on a lot more.
He's been talking about Epstein for the past like 20 years before people even knew who the fuck Jeffrey Epstein really was. Like, no. There are kids getting trafficked in this little island, and then people are like, shut the fuck up, Alex.
I'm
you know
digging
my Alex Jones impression. Not so great. It's like a C- at best, but I'll try.
I mean, it's better than mine.
The frog's gay. That's the best one. He has so many, like, if you had a radio show, I would just get so many drops of Alex Jones and all his little fucking weird things. But, you know, he's a character.
Yeah.
I think he's got some substance abuse problems, but
he's completely
he's fun
taken
to listen
off of
to.
everything.
I know he has to. You have to go to like his website, and it's like basically the dark web to get to his site and everything.
They say he's doing good on it though. I mean,
that's
what Rogan said.
He's got loyal followers, especially like more and more that keeps coming out that he's been right about. People like, well, maybe he's not just a conspiracy theorist after all. Maybe he was actually onto something. I mean, he infiltrated the Bohemian Grove in California, which is like one of the biggest secret societies of all of America, where, you know, from Nixon and Reagan and all the people like who make decisions in this world and for this country have gone there and do fucking weird gay orgies. And right, and like burn effigies in front of a big giant owl, and he broke in there and
he did,
and talked about it, and people like, no, you're crazy, until it comes out. Actually, no, he was actually right about all that shit. So he's made mistakes. He said some stupid shit about Sandy Hook. Got to address that. Yeah. He's come on and been like, I was wrong. All I can do is apologize. I have a microphone in front of my face all the time. I'm going to say stupid shit. And he was wrong. But, you know, they only really care about the things that you do that are wrong, right? They don't want to address the things that you are actually right about when it makes you look bad. But
that doesn't get you ratings, man. I mean, nobody wants to give people credit for doing good.
Everyone just wants to hear woke stuff. That's like, come on, that's all everyone wants to hear nowadays.
Oh, Jesus.
That's why. Why again, to come back to the Drinkin Bros, I'm very lucky and very proud to be a part of that network, because you say whatever the fuck you want, man. Just don't use that N-word. I'm like, okay, cool with me. and we get to, you know, and we get to have views and be honest with ourselves and you know, at the same time as I can say stupid shit, and I'm sure I say it all the fucking time. I know Tansy says it all the time next to me with the mics in front of us. And then just as much right as I have to say something stupid, people can fucking call me out. People leave, you know, things in the comments like, oh, I need subtitles for this Boston asshole. I can't understand what the fuck he's saying.
Never read the comments.
I do. I can't help it. I like it, though. I mean, it is what it is. You can't. You got to have thick skin or just not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because I've been one of the commenters too, right? Not that I've like made it by any means or anything, but it's like, okay, now I got my own little thing that I can spit into the microphone, right? Before I used to be like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, fuck you. And maybe there was a little bit of jealousy in there, right? Because I wish that I had some sort of platform to spew my bullshit on. And, you know, all these Twitter outrage people are like, you know, I don't, so let me use Twitter and a a keyboard to get my point across. But it's fine. I mean, one time we did a live show in Austin for the Super Bowl. And, you know, it was like the first time I went to Drinkin Bros headquarters, and I was all excited and nervous, and I wasn't sure how much, like, I would be included. Ross is like, get Boston Joe up here, sit on this fucking ghost bed, and let's watch Tom Brady win another Super Bowl. I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. So I was nervous. I think, not to brag, but I think there was like 16,000 people that ended up watching that show, which is kind of wild to think about. But, you know, I'm on there, and it's just like, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. And I'm just like, you know, fuck it. I'm just going to be myself. So then I'm like reading the comments after, like, did anyone say anything about me? And someone said, because I wasn't wearing a headset, someone said that my ears, right, don't align with my eyes.
What?
And now that sounds so silly. And at first I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? And then I looked at myself. And then I looked at everyone else.
No.
But listen, hear me out. I looked at everyone else. I'm like, the alignment is kind of weird on my ear to eye ratio thing. But you know what? Maybe 5 years ago, me would have been like, what the fuck, this guy? You know, now I'm like, hey, you're kind of right. It made me kind of look at myself and think maybe they aren't aligned up. But
and I guess it is kind of flattering
look
that
at me.
someone was looking at you that closely.
Well, yeah, sure, right? Like, I don't
This picture right here, that wasn't from that podcast.
No, that was from Dallas at Craft and Growler, which was super cool. That was a whole experience in itself.
I mean, I see the Iceman over here.
Yeah, that's
Chuck
my
Liddell.
No, that's not the Iceman. That's my buddy Chuck.
Chuck. That's Chuck.
So I don't know if you guys ended up watching that show, but Tansy goes up there, does his thing, and they're like, all right, let's bring Boston Joe up here, and I go up there, and you know, I get to ask Chuck a couple questions, and then, you know, definitely go back and watch it because it's a great.
Well, you're smirking and he's laughing right now.
Yeah, well,
so it's like it looks like he just took a shot at you or something.
What happened was our publicist, right? Sound like a fucking pretentious asshole saying that, but I guess technically she is. Our Shelley, she's great. Ross did this thing where he's like joking, like, "Hey, if you're a drinking bro out there, send your dick pics to our Shelley." I think he was kidding. Well, guess what? The Drinkin Bros didn't think he was kidding because she got flooded with dick pics.
Asking you shall receive.
So they're like, "Our Shelley, come up here." There's this one because I brought it up actually because Ross. I love John Mayer. I'd love to talk about John Mayer and some music in a bit, but apparently John Mayer has a huge dick. He's a big dude. I've never seen his.
I've
penis.
heard about there was this thing about him and all the women he's laid pipe to.
Oh well, that's
like,
his black book is like this thick, right? Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. But so I was like, you know, Ross, one of the last shows, you know, you were talking about John Mayer's dick. I'm searching all over the internet. I cannot find it. I want to see John Mayer's dick. I want to see how fucking big this thing is. And Ross is like, oh man, it's a two-hander.
Not pulling that up on Hammered.
No,
pull it up yourself.
Intended.
No, honestly though, if someone can find it that's uncensored and send it to me, please do it because I've been dying to fucking see this. Ross didn't. We forgot about it, and Ross didn't end up showing me. But anyway, our Shelley comes up because she was getting flooded with dick pics, and she's behind us, and apparently someone sent one in that was quite impressive. So she's up there with her phone and show Boston Joe this one. So I look at him like, holy shit, and it was flaccid, and this was a fucking hammer. Okay, and he was like maybe like, I don't know, mixed, maybe half black, half white. The black side was definitely the downstairs side. Let me be real here. This thing was massive. Okay, so I'm like, holy shit, and I was like, Chuck, why are you over there blushing? Because what? Did you participate and we're gonna be underwhelmed? And he's like, what's that? I'm like, nah, I'm just kidding. You probably got a fucking hammer down there, don't you? And he's just like, I'm like, listen, Chuck. One, I never thought I'd be talking to you. Two, I never thought I'd be talking to you about your dick. He's like, me neither. I'm like, well, here we are.
I mean, if I'm having a conversation with Chuck Liddell, the dick never comes up. I mean, I'm thinking,
no pun intended.
Damn.
But I mean, I did. I got on a live show with Chuck Liddell, and I'm asking him about his penis. So that's how Drinkin Bros is. But he was a really cool dude. I talked to him after the show, and things sometimes when you're on a live show, as you guys know, right, where it's like you got a different guest. Hey, you come up now. All right, you're gone. It was kind of what it was, and I was, a short spurt on that show. And I was talking to Chuck.
I hope that's the only place you're a short spurt.
Well, you're going to have to ask some of my
ex-girlfriends
on that one.
Oh.
That's why I'm saying. That was a good one. That was good. I was talking to my buddy Chuck after the show. I was like, I wish I asked you this on the show, but what's like your favorite knockout that wasn't in the octagon? And I don't know how much you've watched of his show on the Drinkin Bros Network, Icebreakers, with this comedian Adam Ray, but he's very soft-spoken, which you wouldn't think, right? You watch him, he's just an absolute animal, just used to destroy people, right? But he kind of talks like this, a little soft-spoken, and doesn't open his mouth that much. So I'm like, yeah, keep going, Chuck. And he's like, well, me and my two brothers were in this brawl with 5 guys in downtown L.A. because apparently he used to be a bouncer. And he said his brothers are like fighting a couple of these guys, whatever. He knocks one guy out, but he jumps onto a car, runs, and Superman punches off the car and hits this guy so hard he gets knocked out. He looked and stood over him. He's like, I thought I killed him. No, I'm not going to lie. I thought the guy was dead. I was like, holy fucking shit, did you? He's like, I don't think so.
Like,
Jesus. And he's like,
don't know.
That's my favorite knockout outside the octagon. I'm like, oh, shit.
His favorite one? I wonder how many does he have?
Oh, I'm sure a ton.
Know if the guy's alive or not.
I'm sure a ton. Well, I guess they do because a cop that he was friends with in L.A., because I'm sure the bouncers and the cops are buddies, right, said, was like trying to get an incident report. And he's like, Chuck, you jump off a car and Superman punch a guy? He's like, yeah, I did. And he's like, you badass motherfucker. You nearly killed that man. He's like, okay.
Oh, okay, good. He's alive.
Confirmed. Oh, he could have been dead by now. I mean, that was years ago. We don't know. But if you're out there listening, call me up one day. I'm not. I'm sure you fucking deserved it. If Chuck Liddell's trying to jump off a car and knock your ass out, you probably fucking deserve it.
So this is one of my proudest moments ever right here.
Oh, look at it.
It's the ice officer meets the ice man. That was back in...
Wow, look how young both of you look.
Look at your little baby face.
Oh, wow. That was
Ice Baby.
2008 in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, that was UFC 88.
I was a freshman in high school.
Oh,
yeah.
That was UFC 88. He was fighting Rashad Evans at this UFC, and this is the one where he got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. Yep.
It was a bad one, but I'm telling you, man, that was awesome. That was an awesome experience.
In his prime, he was big time. I don't know if you ever watched Entourage. I asked him about that.
Yeah, I just know my fist is bigger than his. Look at that shit, dude. That's fucking huge. That's a boxing glove.
You think you could take him?
No. Not at all.
Guy's wild. And he had such a perfect look for the UFC at that time. And again, I'm not even like a huge UFC guy, but I obviously fucking knew Chuck Liddell. Let's be fucking honest here.
Oh, yeah.
And,
How old's Chuck? Is he 50 yet?
Probably around there, if I had to guess. Yeah.
He's got to be at least 50.
Yeah. But he's had a storied career. He's obviously lost. He's been knocked out before. But I think he's 5-time world champion, which is no slouch. And Dana White talks about how, Chuck was like, came around at the right time for UFC and really helped propel that sport. And he had the perfect look with the tattoo on his fucking head and the mohawk, and he's just a fucking brute. And he was like, he wasn't like a Floyd Mayweather, right, who's like defensive boxer and kind of, boring to watch. Chuck would go in there fucking swinging, right? And, Tansy never fucking heard of him before we went to Dallas. So Tansy's watching like 6 straight hours of Chuck Liddell
fights. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's, what, he did tell me that. He said that Chuck gave him shit about that because...
Well, that and Michael Irvin. He never heard of fucking Michael Irvin either.
Tansy, what the fuck?
Well, don't worry. When he comes on, you can give him shit for that. We've already given... He's like, Michael Irvin, he looks pretty short to be a basketball player.
Well, I mean, look at Laura.
Jesus
She's
Christ.
over there confused right now, like, who's Michael Irvin?
Well, that's okay.
Well, this is
You're
kind
a woman.
Circle back to... Wow. This is a kind of circle
What?
back to...
Oh. Is that sexist?
Educate you on...
Yeah, Laura Noah, the SVU, right?
No, this is kind of... No, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I do that to people.
No.
You can blame me. I do that to people. We talk about how women don't know sports, and I'm just kidding. But they know about murder and Laura Noah, the SVU.
But
right?
I tell you what, I guarantee she could tell you anything about a pair of eyeglasses or sunglasses or...
Wow, thank you so much.
Jeez, I thought I had useless knowledge. That's like true useless knowledge.
Thank
But
you
it's
so
I couldn't tell you like what the right size and how to measure and all that. All the terminology you use, I think it's pretty impressive.
So you're
Way
an
to go,
eye
Laura.
specialist?
I am an optician, yes.
Oh. Well, I was dubbed Boston Blue Eyes by Jessie Wiseman herself on the live Austin show. That was a good way to sort of break the ice for me when she starts telling me, like, oh, look at you, Boston Blue Eyes. And I'm like, oh, I hope I don't get red on TV right now while everyone's watching me. But
it happened. Though.
I remember the point I was making. So we're circling back to doing a research, and how little research is done before going into a podcast. You, the dutiful host that you are, make it a point to know something about our guests before they come on. And then I'm texting him 30 minutes before showtime, and I'm like, who do we have on tonight?
Sounds like me and Tansy.
And it's, in my opinion, led me to more successful, more fulfilling conversations because I don't know who you are ultimately. This gives you an opportunity for you to tell me about you instead of us telling you about you. And that I found has made having these very open-ended conversations a lot easier, a lot more successful, a lot more fun, a lot more free-flowing. So that's, anyway, just going back to not knowing what the fuck we're talking about.
Well, what research did you get on me? I don't, other than watching my show, I don't know if there's much out there, right? You search my Facebook or some shit. I mean, I'm a nobody, so.
I met you last weekend.
Well, sure, but what did you get out of that? I'm just a fucking idiot.
A
little bit of that.
Well, you have a band.
Cool accent.
Yeah.
He's got a really cool accent.
Yep, I've heard that one before.
Ladies love the accent, so you do have that going for you.
Not all of them. I don't know. It's
You're
hard
from
to tell.
Saugus, Massachusetts.
Saugus, Massachusetts. Sachems.
Look at that.
Look at that.
It took me a while to figure out Saugus. I was like, actually, no, it's pretty easy to pronounce.
It's a weird word, though, right?
Saugus, yeah.
How do you spell it?
Don't tell her. You got to spell it.
Saugus?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I got the first 3 letters, so I don't know how much more we got.
Yeah, I fucked it up.
S-A-U-G-A-U-S?
And she still got it wrong.
Boo.
Okay.
It's just S-A-U-G-U-S.
Oh, okay. I was trying to make it fancy.
It's definitely not fancy. It's where city meets the suburbs. Saugus, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So it's like Boston, Chelsea, Revere, Saugus. So it's pretty close to Boston, but not too close. It's actually in a pretty good spot.
But it's Massachusetts. Like, how much space?
It's the North Shore.
One township to the next is there?
Yeah, all right. I see what you're saying there. I mean, but the thing is with Massachusetts, right? Like Chuck Liddell, actually, Tansy snapped a picture while we were having this conversation. When we were in Dallas, he came up to me at Jerry World at AT&T Stadium for the Canelo Alvarez fight, and he's like, "Hey,
Jerry World."
Jerry World.
Okay, I was like, what the fuck?
Did I say Cherry? Probably.
It sounded like Cherry to me, but I could be drunk. I don't know.
But he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, why do you have an accent?" I'm like, "What? I'm Boston Joe, man. I'm from Boston. This is what we sound like." He's like, "Oh, no. I have an uncle in Burlington." And I was like, "Oh, Burlington. I used to work in Burlington. Okay. He doesn't sound like you." I was like, "Well, Chuck, to be fair, I'm from real Massachusetts, okay? And it's like, you see these fucking movies like The Departed and The Town. They butcher everything.
Yeah.
How it really is you got Boston and Southie. Those are the real, like, thicker than me accents. You guys were, like, in sync right there with that sip, by the way. That needs to be on camera of you, too.
It
unreal.
wasn't. It's on you.
But anyway, so you got Boston, like, proper, and then you got Southie, which real wicked thick accents. And then you have the North Shore, where I'm from, which goes up to like Gloucester. You ever see The Perfect Storm?
Mm-hmm.
Gloucester Fisherman. That's And then
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, Marky Mark.
He's in all the Boston movies.
He is. Even the fucking one where he's a superhero during
the marathon.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that was a fictional
he in
character.
Perfect Storm?
Yeah, he was.
If there's a Boston movie, Marky Mark is in it
I
somewhere,
missed that.
except for The Town. I don't think he's in The Town.
No, that's
Affleck.
Ben Stiller. No, not Stiller. Ben Affleck. Yeah.
But anyway,
Affleck.
so everything else that I didn't mention that's a part of Massachusetts is not real Massachusetts. Like, I'm telling you, you go 10 minutes west of where I'm from, they're like, "Where the fuck are you from?" I went to college in Massachusetts and had people go, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "The fuck? I'm from Saugus. Where are you from? Why do you talk like that?"
So there's different accents, and
they just don't have accents. It's like it's a common misconception where it's like, "Oh, it's not a Massachusetts, it's a Boston accent." You throw in my neck of the woods, the North Shore. I mean, you should hear my fucking mother. She's worse than me, right? Most of the people I grew up with talk like me.
All right, I want to hear you say one thing. What's the Yankees' nemesis?
The Yankees' nemesis?
The nemesis. Yeah, what's their nemesis? Their arch rivals.
The Red Sox? What do you mean?
Yeah, you said Sox.
Oh, he
They
said
say Sox.
Oh.
He said
Sox.
Red Sox.
Yeah,
There
but
was
like
no
those.
tone to it. There was no accent whatsoever. He just deadpanned you.
Well,
Yeah,
I was just
I don't
confused.
think you gave me what I
I thought it was a
wanted.
trick question. That's
Sox.
why I was confused.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's the fucking. But don't get me started with the Red Sox. That's a whole nother fucking story.
Oh, they
That-
suck,
See,
don't
the
they?
Boston
Yeah,
people-
They're
Red
actually
Sox,
they're actually
Red Sox,
overachieving, but they're fucking just. I mean, I love the Red Sox because I've grew up loving the Red Sox, but their ownership, like John Henry, can get fucked. They own the Boston Globe, and it's a huge conflict of interest that will outbore you with. You don't even need to hear about that. But that's
what
another
was that?
story
I'm
for
sorry,
another day.
Oh, okay. I'm a Yankee fan, so.
Oh, that sucks. That fucking sucks. How's Corey
It
Kluber
sucks.
doing?
Now you said it. It sucks.
No, it sucks.
Sounds like socks.
He had said it like 8 times between your trick
What?
question and now.
No, but then sucks. It sucks.
The Yankees suck.
They're actually, aren't they doing? I don't know,
Red
dude.
Sox doing
I
better.
can't even like tell you last time I saw a Yankee game.
Well,
Like,
you're not missing much this year. They fucking suck.
I don't watch sports in general anymore, man. Like football, I watch football. That's it. But anything else?
Who's your team?
Panthers. I'm here with. Yeah, I know.
Wait,
laugh.
Panthers?
Fucking.
I didn't even know Carolina had a team.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah,
Take
the
that.
fucking Hurricanes team. Like
Hurricanes. You mean the Hartford Whalers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Ah, there they are.
Oh, Laura's lost.
Nobody gives a fuck. We won't talk sports if you don't want to. I have a sports show. I talk enough sports.
I know enough to get by.
Do you know that Tom Brady's very handsome?
I don't think he's that cute.
Well, can we get her out of here, actually?
Even I think he's cute.
Right.
I mean, fuck.
I'm okay with my sexuality. Tom Brady's a handsome-ass motherfucking man. And he's also an older man. So he's kind of a daddy, too.
Oh, he's like 42.
Which is totally
like
my
44.
type, right? Totally my type. I love the daddies. But Tom Brady doesn't do it for me.
How about Jimmy
I think he exits
Garoppolo?
that way. Well, Jimmy G spot is a
Jimmy
handsome-ass
G might be like the most handsomest guy
He's
in the
too
NFL.
handsome, though.
He is. He like you just want to punch him in the face. Just to like give him a black eye and fuck him up a little.
And he doesn't have the clutch gene, as we saw in
Yeah.
that Super Bowl that he got to play. And he can never stay on the field. I think he's serviceable. I would have loved to have had him back.
But
I thought they were
he
going
can
to.
go to the club and get any fucking woman he
Of
wants.
course.
Oh,
mean-
Of course
no,
he could.
No,
What?
No.
No on Jimmy G?
No on Jimmy G.
The hell's wrong with you?
Look at he's got a fucking cockeye over here. Like his,
What?
his
Let me see.
eye
Let
is
me
like,
make sure you're looking at the right person.
All the women right now are Googling Jimmy G and going, what the hell is wrong with her? He is perfect. He's an Adonis. He's a Greek god.
Yeah, exactly.
Jimmy G
Don't
spot.
offend Greek gods like that. This guy just is not.
Hercules.
I am like super secure in my sexuality, and I think Jimmy G might look better than Tom Brady.
Well, hey, let's take it easy now. Let's take it fucking easy now.
Well,
Nah,
maybe
they're both
Belichick
handsome
thought
ass
that.
men.
Maybe Belichick thought Brady was more handsome too. That's why.
No, I think Belichick actually liked Jimmy G a lot more. Belichick and Brady, that whole relationship from, an insider, if you will, a
Yeah.
Patriots fan, and listening to the whole shit, they did not get along. I mean, you work with anyone for almost 20 years like they did, and, egos come into play, right?
Yeah.
And that was a narrative in Boston sports for a long time. Is it, more Brady, more Belichick? Is it 50-50? Is it 49-51? Is it this and that? And there's no way they didn't hear that, and there's no way they didn't think about that. And Brady's one up on him right now. I know Belichick won 2 with the Giants, and he's got a storied career without Brady even, right?
Yeah.
But Brady goes and leaves and wins the Super Bowl with first year on the new team, and Belichick missed the playoffs. So,
Because he had he had Sham Newton.
well, the thing
Sham
is,
Newton.
I was kind of excited when we got Cam. I was kind of like, oh, this could be cool. This is different, right? If anyone's going to replace Brady, I didn't want it to be some like Jarrett Stidham, like who we have as our backup last year, like some nobody. It's like, give me something different. Oh, this is cool. Cam, first game, he comes out in balls. Clearly, he could not. He had either shoulder or elbow problems last year. You could see it. He was one-hopping or two-hopping a lot of his passes. But at the same time, he definitely lost a step or 3. You can tell. You go back and watch his MVP year with the Panthers, 2015 or whatever it was. Fast as fuck, right? That first couple steps, you're like, holy shit, and he's big and strong. He's definitely lost a couple steps when it comes to agility and speed, but he's still a playmaker, and he can still make things happen with his legs.
Well, that's the problem. When you're a quarterback/running back,
Sure,
you're going to deteriorate faster than a Tom Brady.
And I never thought I'd be defending Cam Newton after the year he had last year. Trust me, at the end of last year, I was like, fuck Cam Newton. But I'm going to give him another shot because, to be fair,
is he still with
he is.
He's with the Patriots this year?
And as far as it's looking now, we drafted Mac Jones, the quarterback out of Alabama. Saban and Belichick are boys. But we had no weapons last year. And I'm not making excuses for Cam. I don't think he would have hit any weapons if they had him last year. But if Brady went out with that Patriots team last year, they're not winning the Super Bowl. They'll probably make the playoffs because Brady doesn't miss the playoffs. But I would have been like, get this guy some fucking weapons.
But Brady always takes no-name players.
Of course.
To the fucking playoffs.
Of course, he makes people like Welker and Edelman and all these other guys.
I mean, what about that year he took like Troy Brown?
Hey, don't you talk shit about Troy Brown.
No,
he's a Patriot
I had him on my
legend.
fantasy team back then. Shit, man, I had all those guys.
Yeah, but like David Patton, David Givens, Christian Fourier, those guys, when he was a game manager those first 3 Super Bowls, I mean, he did make those guys stars in a way. But he was always infamous for spreading the ball out. He never had a favorite target until Randy Moss came along. Inevitably didn't work out.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good year.
Won the Super Bowl.
No, that was the 16-0, and then lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl year.
Oh, lost to Eli Manning.
Eli fucking Manning, and then
the catch.
Yep, and then the next year, week 1, Brady tears his ACL. So as a Patriots fan, that was a tough little splurt to win every fucking game in a blowout, lose the Super Bowl to the fucking Giants, and then the next year it's like, all right, well, we got the same fucking team coming back. Let's go again, and Brady tears his ACL that year. So that was a tough little patch for Patriots fans as I drink from my Patriots glass.
And I'm like empty. But you know what?
You need a refill, huh?
Probably not.
This show's going to be a 2-parter anyway, so we're going to have to take a break and come back.
No, actually.
How long do you guys usually go for?
We usually an hour max. But like I had my longest one's like 2.5 with Pete Rivera, I think. We had Pete up here for like 2.5 hours. I cut that into 2. Nah, man, we'll roll this, but we're gonna get Laura back into the mix here.
Yeah, sorry, we had our little sports segment.
So
you guys,
we can take a break whenever you want, though, because I gotta pee.
So, sports. While you guys were talking about actual sports, I'm actually on here looking for hot football players, and I have yet to find
Danny Amendola. Google Danny Amendola.
No, I saw him. He was
him
on one of these lists, and I don't know.
He was with Olivia Culpo. Who's a smoke. I don't know if you know
that name sounds like a smokehouse.
Oh, my gosh,
Russell Wilson's the only one who's kind of doing it for me.
Sierra.
Russell, he's this tall, right?
Wait, and he's NC State alumni.
He is Wolfpack, but then he transferred to Wisconsin. Listen, I love Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I would love to have him be quarterback for my team. I think he's like a true winner. But the Drinkin Bros hate him. Ross and Dan fucking hate Russell Wilson. I don't really know why. I think he's kind of corny.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. I'm sure Brady looks corny sometimes too, but
look at how crazy Tom Brady looks.
He's a fucking
That's
stud.
that's a bad picture.
He's a stud. No, what's even no.
Crazy.
He is.
I feel bad for Giselle.
No, Giselle's crazier.
You feel bad for a woman that makes more money than Tom Brady?
Yeah, and
seven-time Super Bowl champion.
Like, I want to make sure she's okay. This is girl code. Like, blink twice if you're trapped.
No, listen, they're both crazy. Tom Brady certifiably is crazy. I don't know if you ever watched his little documentary with Gotham Chopra and Religion of Sports, where it's Tom versus time is what it is.
I have not seen that, but I heard it was good.
He literally only cares about football and his family. So there's you have a camera in front of you who really acts sincere. You never really know. It's like the Kardashians. They got cameras in their face all day. They don't even know who they really are, right?
Yeah.
So, but Tom literally was training all day. Then it has, almost every episode would end with him at some shitty computer, too. It wasn't even like what you have, like a shitty computer. Clicking, just watching film into, like, the wee hours of the morning. Like, just watching film. That's all he cares about is football and family. In fact, there was a Thursday night football game on NFL Network that the then Tom Brady-led Patriots beat the Chargers. Deion Sanders is like, listen, man, we've heard it all from you. We know what Tom Brady does on the field and this and that. I want to know what Tom Brady does off the field. What do you enjoy? And you could tell he's like, it's like, honestly, Deion's family and football. That's all I fucking care about. He didn't say fucking, but he's like, it's all I care about. And Deion Sanders is like, what? Like, that's it? And he's like, sorry, man, I wish I had more for you. That's literally all I do is I train, think about football, and I spend time with my family. And it's like,
and then I feel like his family has to beg him to be around on occasion.
well, honestly, though, Giselle, she's kind of crazy, too. She's like, she's super hippy-dippy, which is fine. You can do whatever the fuck she wants, but she's a little obnoxious, too. This is a classic story. It was, I don't remember. I think it was the second time the Patriots lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl because Wes Welker infamously dropped the ball on a big third down, which probably cost the Patriots the game. And Giselle was getting the paparazzi was bombarding her after the game. And they're like, what happened? What happened to your husband? What happened? Why didn't they win? Mm-hmm. And Giselle in a rage as she's rushing up. My husband can throw and catch the ball.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was one of her most famous quotes. And it was a shot at Wes Welker too when Brady and Welker were boys back in the day.
Did you see when Wes Welker pretty much when Belichick told Wes Welker that, hey, man, this is pretty much you're getting replaced on the sideline at,
Edelman,
yeah.
Edelman's a better version of Welker.
Yeah.
And Welker loved cocaine. Confirmed. You ever see that dude's eyes? I mean, he was Wes Welker was like this all the fucking time. But no, it was sort of a dirty little secret that everyone knew. Wes Welker was a big-time cokehead, even in the locker room.
I thought that was a funny video, man, where he's explaining to Welker about, hey, I don't remember. I'd have to watch the video. So what the fuck? I can't even.
But Edelman ended up.
Welcome back, Grandpa.
Jesus.
Reel it in.
What does Jesus have to do with this?
My prefrontal cortex is on a nap right now. Fuck. Hey, y'all want to take a pee break? And,
sure.
All right, I'll pause.
I'm just
your show.
Say real quick, Aaron Rodgers kind of does it for me because he just looks.
He's
good
asexual.
With everyone's shit.
He's a
miserable asshole.
Looks
a great quarterback, but
so
miserable.
Pissed off about everything, and I'm kind of here for it.
He is though.
Danica Patrick.
Well, he was with her. He was with Olivia Munn, then Danica Patrick. Now he's with some actress who you'd probably know. I forget her name, but he doesn't show up to training camp, and he goes and hangs out with her and her ex-boyfriend and her ex-boyfriend's new lover. So it appears as though they're doing some Forgetting Sarah Marshall thing, but they're swingers or whatever the fuck is going on.
I saw some article that said that those people he was hanging with in Hawaii,
the
dude got punched in the face at a bar from some guy.
No.
Yeah.
Did Aaron Rodgers step up? Probably not.
No, he didn't.
He doesn't seem like a fighter.
He seems like
No,
Aaron Rodgers seems like a pussy.
No.
He does seem. Seems like not a cunt, but a pussy. He seems like a pussy.
Yeah, he might be.
It's just every single picture, every single shot I've ever seen.
Miserable.
Of him, he's just sick of everyone's shit.
Resting bitch
and
face.
It's hysterical. Even when he's smiling, it looks so painful.
Yeah.
And
I think he hates Green Bay.
Oh, definitely. Fuck yeah.
Who would like Green Bay?
Well, he came out and said this really cocky statement last year, I believe it was, where he said, my off year is better than 80% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I don't know exactly.
Kind of right, though. I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a little overrated compared to what some people put him on, but he is you just watch him, you're like, holy shit. He's like a robot out there. He's an will go down as one of the all-time greats. However, he has one Super Bowl. So does Drew Brees. Yeah. If you want to be considered one of the all-time greats, you got to at least get two. Win me Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson.
Ready to say Trent Dilfer.
Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl as a quarterback, okay? The thing with Aaron Rodgers, though, he's going to go down in history as a great quarterback. It's very curious, though, to see what's going to happen with him this year because he's been holding out.
I think he's overrated. That's just my 2 cents, but anyway.
He can sling it, though.
Well, he's behaving.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes can sling it.
As if he's overrated. He believes he's overrated, but he's acting on it. He does think he's God's gift to NFL.
Yeah, he does.
He thinks he's a fucking Jeopardy host too.
Yeah, well, he definitely wants to be.
He
definitely wants to be.
Yeah, he did it for a week, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Then maybe that's his calling. I need to watch this.
I'll watch some of it.
He needs to get my approval.
Well,
could I put a clip up here and you think Facebook will demonetize it?
I think that's a no. I'm pretty sure Jeopardy.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, it depends what it is, I guess. But the ironic part, since we were talking about Brady and Rodgers, is they're actually doing the same thing that Brady and Peyton did, I think last year or 2 years ago, where they're doing Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson versus Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau in a 2-on-2 golf tournament. And Brady,
nice.
With Belichick, right, you're kind of under the Patriot way, if you will, and you can't say shit, ignore the noise, and all this bullshit. So Brady was just, always just said good things about everyone. It'd be like, dude, that's so insincere. We know you want to talk shit. Now he's with the Bucs. He doesn't give a fuck. And it was like a 4-way Zoom call with all those guys I was talking about who were playing golf against each other. And Brady's talking shit, hardcore to Aaron Rodgers, where he's like, oh, yeah, remember we beat you in the NFC Championship game? Like, what's good, dude? And Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, well, if my team wanted to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, sucks that you don't have that power, huh? And I was, like, so flabbergasted by it because Brady would, like, get chirped. All these other players would, like, talk shit to Brady. And he'd go, well, you know what? He's a great player. And I'm just very blessed to be on the same field as that guy, and then go and beat his ass on the field and talk shit to him on the field, and then after the game be like, he's a really nice guy. I enjoyed playing with him.
Because Brady can be that guy.
Yeah, now he can. It's like the leash was off, and now it's like, go do whatever the fuck you want.
He went from the AFC Super Bowl winner, 6-time Super Bowl winner in the AFC, to his first year in the NFC. Just fucking Aaron Rodgers, you suck.
Yep. Eat my dick, Aaron Rodgers. That's why he's the GOAT.
What kind of conversation does that entail? I'd love to hear this one.
Well, we had, are we rolling? Is that why?
Yeah, we're rolling.
We're rolling.
Of course we are.
We had Emery EXP, who is a certified badass.
Trying to get her on the show, but the only avenue I have to reach out to her is her Instagram.
Yeah.
And my shit just gets thrown into this endless box of
little
feedback.
Tits.
I am also getting the feedback.
What is that?
But Emery's great. I mean, she came on our show. She is. Oh, there, it's gone now.
The cell
she
phone.
is. Motherfuckers. But she is a certified. She was in Korengal, which I didn't know shit about until Tansy explained to me. And she basically Mulan the shit out of it, and like shaved her head and like dressed boyishly, and nobody really knew she was a chick until like she was already there. And I mean, from what I've heard, what Tansy told me is Korengal was not a nice place to be during the war. And she was a badass and, was jumping out of airplanes like Tansy was. And now she's making a lot of money playing video games. So good for her.
Yeah,
but Tansy gave her the nickname the cunt of Korengal. But what was the connection between her and my mom? Oh, so that's right. So we were playing Mortal Kombat because she's a gamer. And one of the characters on Mortal Kombat had like some sort of like Sarlacc pit mouth. Like the Star Wars Sarlacc pit.
Baraka.
Boba Fett. Something
That's
like
Baraka,
sure.
Yeah.
And Tansy's like, oh, look at that guy's mouth. It looks like Boston Joe's mom's vagina. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
No.
So, of course, that episode drops that Friday. And my mom, it's like, it drops at 8. So it's like 8:23. I get a text from my mom. You tell that fucking motherfucking Tansy. He talks about my vagina one more fucking time. And I'm like, oh.
Like, Mom, they even made a movie about your vagina. It's called Teeth.
Yeah. She's gonna be so mad. She's like, you just had to talk about your mother's vagina on this show too. You go on another show and you're talking about it, but
shit,
she'll still listen.
Here's another one. I'm sorry, Mom. Well, I cannot wait to have a conversation with her. Your mom sounds like great people to talk shit with.
Oh, she is. She's a shit talker.
That's
all right.
what I need. I just need someone to call up and be like, just listen to this shit for a minute.
She's a talker.
Speaking of listening to shit, are you ready? It's that time of the show.
That was a very poor segue.
I like it anyway. We take what we can get here on Hammered. It's the motto of my life. Anyway, here we go.
Right.
Okay.
I'm with you on that.
I'm not offended. That's fine.
No, not at all. I didn't mean it towards you.
That's
not at all.
fine.
Hey, so guess what, Joe? This is Hammered Trivia. Every guest we have on the show goes one-on-one with Miss Laura May over here. And we're going to test their knowledge on, like...
I already can tell this is rigged.
She does not know
collusion
what's going
with
on.
you two.
Let me actually turn my screen here.
I wish it were. This one goes out of his way to fuck me on Hammered Trivia.
Speaking of fucking
I hope he fucks you,
it
Jesus.
might have something to do with this quiz tonight.
Well, you're going to beat me on that one, I think.
So,
I don't think either of you knows anything about fucking me.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you guys have something we need to talk about?
Wow, what's going on here?
I'll be your couple's therapist.
Is this a therapy moment right now?
This one does not last long enough to know anything about
Oh my God.
Shit. Shots have been fired. Maybe a little too prematurely,
what?
but the shots have been fired.
Way too early. Way
Nice, I like that. You know, I get more rest. I need my beauty sleep. Sorry. Anyway,
It's
so
really working.
the other day on Drinkin Bros Tailgate Legends, we got to spend a little time with you guys, and Eric and yourself came up with this little this phrase at the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. So for people that don't know what the Eiffel Tower is, it's a sexual position. So today's quiz is going to be on sexual positions.
Ooh,
yeah.
Sex, never had it.
Are you? Oh, you have been single for a while, right? Once you go,
I regained my virginity.
Ooh,
I found it. I lost it at one point.
How long?
But then I found it.
How long do you have to go without sex before you regain your virginity?
It's been almost a month for me, which is probably the longest splurt I've had since I was probably a virgin.
I remember them days.
And I'm just admitting that on the podcast right now. So fuck me. Hand me my noose.
I do run a singles group.
Literally, Boston Joe needs to be fucked, is what I'm hearing. So.
Well, I mean, what's good with Hannah? I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Okay,
Hannah.
let's move on.
Oh my God, he remembered my sister's name.
He remembered. He probably went to your Facebook and tried to find her.
No, I'm not a creep. Not a creep.
Oh, that's something I would have done.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. But I thought about it.
Okay, so all right. Before we get on the Hannah talk,
my sister is very well endowed. Are you a boob guy?
Ooh.
I mean, I'm more of an ass guy, but I mean, who's not?
I mean, she's
into
got
boobs?
that too. But
Well endowed. I mean, does she have a big penis? I mean, that's what I think of when I well endowed. I mean, if she's got a bigger penis than me, that's a no-go. If it's smaller, maybe we can work with it.
Okay. Well,
we don't kink shame. Anyway, the trivia questions you're about to ask me.
I mean, I'm just sitting here like I'm wondering like how do we make this connection happen?
Poor Hannah. She's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Quick question.
Uh-oh.
Are you a Cancer?
Oh.
No, but I have cancer.
Oh.
That's not
Hank.
funny.
It's about time somebody uses that on you.
Hank, my cancer is back.
Oh.
What's your
Breaking
birthday?
Bad? I am a Libra Scorpio cusp, where I'm balanced as a Libra, but I have the edge of a Scorpio. October 21st. I think the 21st through the 23rd are the cusp dates.
Yes, because I'm a Scorpio, dates. October 25th.
Yep.
You're a Scorpio.
I think Lil Wayne once said, I'm nasty as a Scorpio, but I'm a lucky Libra. Have her wet like she's sweating out a fever. Anyway.
Okay, let's just play trivia. Let's get this.
I needed to know.
Oh, okay.
If you don't know, now you know. Don't say it.
I'm not. I was so close.
No, you weren't, because you never say that word.
I never.
Neither do I.
Unless I'm listening to like Notorious B.I.G. or some Tupac in the car where nobody can hear me. Like if you sing karaoke, do you actually have to like leave the words out?
I think people have been canceled for that.
Oh,
so
jeez. All right, so the way this works.
On your way to pick up illegal detainees.
Oh no, she
The
didn't.
irony.
I fought the law and the law won. Anyway, trivia.
All right, so the way this works, Joe, you're going to go first. There's going to be 6 questions, okay?
I heard you go first, though.
All right, this is getting out of control.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry. She said it first.
All right, so you go first. There's 3 questions. Whoever answers the most wins of your 3. If you both are tied at the end of 6, we're going to a overtime.
Death.
I call it the overtime question. The overtime question. Laura has. You know what? That's the trophy right there. Just hold that shit up. Yeah, there it is. All right, if you win, you get to take that trophy home. Laura is actually the defending champion. She beat our last guest, so.
I beat the last 3 guests.
Oh shit!
Just so you know.
Haven't had me on yet.
In a
All
row.
right, Joe. Here we go. First question. Which of the following titles is from an actual peer-reviewed academic journal? Is it A, Let Me Count the Ways? Canonists and theologians contemplate coital positions. I apologize for this. You got the hardest one. Oh, wait, hold on.
To be at least a 7th grade reading level to.
I'm going to turn her mic off. Okay.
Trivia questions.
B, Imagine Me and You. Sex positions and their relationship to sexual intimacy. C, Why Don't We Do It in the Road? Coital positioning and the cultural practice of parking. Did I say coital right?
You did say coital.
Thank you very much. That's
So
8th grade.
Repeat the question for me.
Okay. Which of the following titles is from an actual peer-reviewed academic journal? So these are all titles of a book or somebody's private notes.
Well,
not so private.
Even though you butchered the first one.
I haven't even read D yet.
Oh, there's a D.
There's a D.
I mean,
Jesus, you didn't let him finish.
He's not used to giving the D to anybody, so it's all good.
Well, it sounds like he's not used to getting the D, is what I'm hearing.
Can neither confirm nor deny that one.
We're not touching that
Just
one.
kidding. It's Pride Month. I just feel obligated.
Hey, we support the LGBTQ. Yes.
RSTUV.
Right. So D, love hurts. Porcupine, coupletary, positioning, and highway mortality estimates. These are some fucked up.
Right? All of them sound fucked up.
Can I read?
No, you can't.
I feel like I would do a better job.
Well, you're not. You're
a participant, not a host, okay?
I'm the fucking Aaron Rodgers to
He
Jeopardy.
won't let me host. He keeps telling me I'm going to host. He doesn't let me host. I can read the trivia questions better than he can.
Well, you can host. We got a podcast tomorrow night, so.
I'm not hosting that one.
Okay. Well, then you. What are we doing, Joe? What's the answer? Hey,
I think it's the one you butchered in the beginning. A.
And it is A. A is the correct answer. Applause. Joe is 1-0.
Let's get a round of applause.
Can I read it for our poor listeners
No.
who have to deal with this? All
No.
three of them?
How about you listen to this? Which one of these is not a name for a sex position? Is not a name. Reverse cowgirl, dragonfly, the pile driver, finger cuffs, or shark bait?
Read them out to me one more time.
Dude, I got this. Yeah, it's definitely playing. Which one of these is not a name for a sex position? Reverse cowgirl, dragonfly, pile driver, finger cuffs, or shark bait?
Shark bait. Ooh, aha.
I was.
Damn, she got it right.
Finding
Oh, boom. Shark bait. Oh.
I was going to say shark.
Shark bait.
I feel like
Sex
I've done all of
positions and
those.
Finding Nemo. Oh, my God. Just ruined that movie for me. All right, you ready,
Mount
Joe?
Wanahakalugi, yes.
Question number 3. We are tied at 1-1.
Hakalugi on the dick.
And this episode is out of control, and I love it.
Well,
All right.
did you expect anything less?
We blame it all on Terramana Tequila.
Nope.
Right
Blame it
here.
on me.
The Rock is not going to approve
Oh, yeah,
this plug.
he's never going to approve it. All right, here we go, Joe. The most important element of a great sex position is A, the angle of penetration, B, the speed of penetration, C, the physical position of the partner being penetrated, D, the rhythm, or E, all of the above.
Oh.
Complicated.
To be fair, I think everyone's different and everyone likes things differently. So I'm sure some people might have some quaffs with some of the answers. But I'm going to have to say all of the above.
That is correct. Joe is up 2-1.
Maybe I have done the sex before. Who knows?
Maybe.
I feel like that was a throwaway question.
I mean, maybe this one is a throwaway too. So it's kind of even. You ready? The most popular sex position is. Do you know what it is without me even reading the answers?
It might be tough. I don't know. I'm assuming it's missionary, but let me hear the answers.
Okay, here we go. A, woman on top. B, man on top. Wait, what the fuck? Rear entry or doggy style. Spooning or E, both A and C.
The most popular voted by whom? Like, I need to know the demographic.
I mean, we're not like
Tell you
dissecting this
the
question.
most popular with me, but I don't
Yes,
know
tell
what
us.
the most popular amongst whoever was surveyed in this.
I can tell
Let's
you my
just say-
favorite.
let's just say 100 Americans were surveyed, and they were all conservative.
Survey says?
And they were all conservatives.
Yes.
Then it was man on top.
Is that your final answer?
Yes. It's
That is wrong.
Both A and C.
It was both A and C.
What was C?
Woman on top and rear entry or doggy style.
Doggy style, I mean, come on. Let's be honest.
Oh,
here.
no. You're down 1 now. This is going to be tough for you to come back.
It always is.
Joe, let's move right along here. All right. Men who prefer the rear entry or doggy style sex position are also likely to have more sexual fantasies,
Shoot up a school.
Too soon.
Wait,
Too
I
soon.
don't even know why.
Jesus.
How does doggy style and
Never
shooting
mind.
up a
Carry
school
on.
like?
Sorry.
Okay, all right. Be circumcised, be uncircumcised, or enjoy spicy foods.
This is a train wreck.
What was A again?
Have more sexual fantasies.
I'm gonna say have more sexual fantasies.
That is correct. That is correct. And that is 3-1. And technically, Joe has won.
And as they say,
There's no
where
way
I
to come
come
back.
from with Drinkin Bros, get fucked.
I'm not.
Okay.
Nice.
Definitely not. No. Well, let's just go through these. There's 2 more questions. There's your last question. There's a tiebreaker question. Let's just see if you can get these right, okay? Which sex position is most likely to result in a urinary tract infection? Is it missionary, spooning, doggy style, standing, or none of the above?
I'm going to say none of the above.
That would be correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have one more. Okay, according to scientific research on sexual intercourse, during vaginal penetration, the penis is usually straight, curved like a banana, boomerang shaped, or curved like an S.
What was the question again?
According to scientific research on sexual intercourse, during vaginal penetration, the penis is usually...
Curved like a banana.
That is wrong. It's boomerang shaped.
Boomerang.
Boomerang shaped. I don't know who.
Mine's pretty straight, I gotta say.
I
I
mean,
might not be
but
pretty
you-
straight, but my dick's pretty straight.
But you don't know that because you can't see it. Maybe it's like
Well,
crazy.
You don't know
like,
that.
when
Maybe
you
this
push,
GoPros that you can kind of...
Dude,
Ouch.
a penis GoPro would be amazing.
Don't
Be
knock it till you
gross.
try it. We don't kink shame.
What?
Well, I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, ouch.
It might
Well-
stimulate the whole
I
process,
don't
no?
want a whole GoPro in my vagina.
That would hurt unless they make it like aerodynamic or like real smooth.
Aerodynamic.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we could get Elon Musk to come in and
Or
like,
maybe
make
we could
some
just
sort
try
of,
it. Let's put
like,
a GoPro up
vagina
the hoo-ha.
I'm just here to say you can't fit a GoPro in my vagina.
I would never try it.
I was
too
going to say you don't
expensive.
know until you try, so.
All right.
We got real sexual there, didn't
Oh,
we? I mean, the
man.
questions were
I
pretty
mean,
fucking sexual.
I knew it was going to get sexual after those questions.
So,
So,
at the beginning of trivia, when you were talking about the Eiffel Tower, I was like, oh, thank God there are trivia questions about Paris in there.
You know, I got to say, the devil's threesome, and you guys don't have to share if you don't want to, but I will. I have never engaged in one. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I mean, if the opportunity strikes with the right people, the opportunity strikes. But that's one I haven't dabbled in yet. I gotta say, I've had a threesome before, but it wasn't with another guy.
yeah, I've never done that. It's not my forte.
And
I'm
the thing
not,
is,
like,
too, I know it's funny to joke around with the Eiffel Tower thing. If I am having a devil's threesome, I'm not locking hands with my buddy and like making eye contact while we're both like.
I'm not even high fiving. Like, hey, bro, yeah, way to
We
go.
did it,
No
man. Nice
way.
dick.
Fuck no,
Nice
I'm
dick,
like,
bro.
Keep your balls away from me.
Don't
let your
cross
balls touch me.
swords.
You know, I'm assuming that it's, I guess, most women's fantasies, and I'm just very broadly generalizing here, that if she's going to have a threesome with 2 people, it's going to be one participant, at least will be another male. And
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so my thought is men think women are fantasizing about 2 men with her in the bed, and that is just not me.
Well, I think everyone's different. In my experiences, I'm one to ask a lot of questions and talk, if you guys haven't realized that. But in my experiences, I mean, women could be lying. I have asked the question, okay, threesome, 2 guys, or another girl. Most women have told me they'd prefer another girl than 2 guys. Now, there are some out there who are like, nah, give me the 2 guys, and I just want to be, you know, the center of attention, if you will. But a lot of times, women are like, 2 dicks, I can barely handle one. I don't know if I can do 2. Right? So
Right.
every woman is different.
What about sausage hogs? What about those ones that want all their orifices filled?
Well, I think there's a
Then they-
site for those people. It's
I
called
feel like
Pornhub.
That would just be kind of
Oh, jeez.
distracting. Like, at what point do I get off in
No.
this?
But at that point, you know, I could not be one of those guys because the odds are too great of some shit touching. Like, especially the one that's got the booty and the vagina. That's just going to touch. There's no way.
Are we talking some DP shit right now?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
definitely.
a very thin layer of skin
That's
between the
called the
booty
taint.
hole and the, yeah.
The taint, yes.
And again, on the Rogan episode, Dr. Swan or whatever her name is, our taints are shrinking, by the way.
Yes.
But like that in between thin layer, I don't know if you've ever indulged in both holes at the same time. It's a very thin layer between the two. So you would definitely feel both penises. Now we're really off the rails here, aren't we?
Oh, man, we're crazy.
And, this is me not having a penis, but, like, isn't the idea to constrict whatever orifice that the penis is inserting into? So if you have one orifice that's filled with an erect penis, that is pushing up against the walls of the other orifice. So that's going to feel really good to both.
But is it gay?
Penetrating
is the
factors.
question.
Have you ever, like, stuck the pinky, not the pinky, but the index in the ass, the thumb in the vagina?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. And felt there's a very thin layer between the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you ever stuck the middle finger in the ass and the thumb in the vagina and snapped your fingers?
Ooh.
Hey,
no.
Give it a shot one day.
But I am going to have to. So I'm sorry to the next woman I end up hooking up with because that's just all I'm going to be doing. So
We got to come up with a great name for that. What can we call that?
The snap crackle without the pop.
Snapple.
Snapple, better than what I said.
Yeah, it's less to say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Laura, before we went on trivia, you wanted to ask. You went on this tangent about Egypt. You want to talk about Egypt?
No. Well, Joe talked about like his love and his fascination of ancient Egypt, and that is something that deeply resonates with me. So, when I first met you, I noticed your tattoos, and I kind of secretly geeked out.
All right, you got to show us the tattoos.
Here they are. Can you see them well like this?
I see an Ankh, I see a Wadjet, and I see several other hieroglyphs on there. I see an alien and a UFO and this is...
I believe they call those Easter eggs.
Okay,
but
perfect.
One could argue that there are...
That kind of answers my question, this is someone coming from someone who, amateur Egyptologists, but in the hieroglyphs that I've studied, there has not been a UFO.
Not exactly like that.
An alien head.
No, but if you watch enough Ancient Aliens, you can pretend that some of them do look like that. I mean, to be honest with you, right? Even true professional Egyptologists cannot decipher what all the hieroglyphs are. That's why I get a lot of people asking, well, what does it mean? It's like, bitch.
No one knows.
No one really fucking knows. It looks fucking sick, though, right? So that's why I wanted to add the alien head and the UFO because, I'm into aliens too. And to say that I know or not that aliens had any sort of influence on ancient Egypt, I don't know. I can only speculate, of course, like anyone else. But there's a lot of things that just don't always add up. Like, for instance, right, the pyramids themselves, the exact coordinates of the Great Pyramid of Giza, that number is the exact same number as the speed of light. So I'm like, okay.
186,000 miles per hour per second.
Yes, that is the exact coordinates.
Good job.
It also aligns perfectly with Orion's belt, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, there's some weird things where, and Egypt isn't the only cool thing with this. If you look into like the Mayans and the Aztecs, they got a lot of cool shit going on there too. I've just been
also
absolutely
with celestial coordinates. I can't tell you which ones. I never followed ancient Mexican
Teotihuacan and that area of the world. Yeah,
I unfortunately that wasn't very fascinating, but my heart and I guess what I feel deep in my soul and in my spirit is in ancient Egypt.
Absolutely.
And I totally believe that there is definitely coordination. There's definitely a spiritual right that comes with having a pyramid as your final resting place. That is a testament to who you were in your life on Earth and how important it is to keep you aligned celestially after your death.
For sure. And what's craziest is, a lot of people equate the pyramids to like, oh, well, that's where they they buried the pharaohs, and there's actually no tombs in the pyramids. So to me, and there's also ancient, secret chambers of the pyramids that they haven't even discovered yet, but they know with, it's not X-ray, but like XRNA or whatever the fuck it's called, they're able to kind of see through and be like, oh, there's something right here, sort of like gap that we don't know what it's for. And then the other thing, too, I mean, there's a lot of things, but one of the things is you go into the pyramids, there's lighting and everything. They have installed electricity and lighting. Back then there wasn't, as far as we know. But how the hell did they not only build it without light, how the hell did they maneuver, put these, even in the middle of the day, it would have been completely dark within these pyramids. Now, if you look at some of the hieroglyphics within the pyramids, it does kind of look like there are symbols and hieroglyphs that have people holding what appears to look like a light bulb walking through the halls of the Great Pyramids. Now, there's things like the Baghdad Battery. I don't know if you guys are familiar with stuff like that. And there's a lot of nuclear glass that has been found in that part of the world where it's like...
You want to explain what nuclear glass is?
So nuclear glass, I mean... So this is like Graham Hancock, which I mentioned to you earlier. Like, Graham Hancock's been on Rogan's show a bunch of times. Rogan is who introduced me to Graham Hancock. And he's a guy who is super into not only ancient history and ancient civilizations and culture, but also psychedelic drugs and how they kind of almost go hand in hand if you really get into it. Now, he talks about, if you look at, for instance, the Sphinx in Egypt, there is water erosion by the Sphinx that dates back to thousands of years before when we believed the pyramids or the Sphinx were even built. So some people even believe that the Sphinx is even thousands of years older than the pyramids. So then it's like, wait, what the fuck? And I have this joke of, if I could go back in a time machine, I'd go back to ancient Egypt and be like, how'd you guys build that? And how crazy would it be? It would be like a movie where, like a M. Night Shyamalan movie where he's like, one of the pharaohs is like,
we didn't.
Yeah, that's been here, man. That was here when we got here, and where it's like
built around.
Yeah, there's
right.
People think that Egypt was built in two different phases.
Yes, yep. The dynastic
Well,
period.
you have several thousand dynasties throughout ancient Egyptian history. So, who is to say, the development of that engineering, started in its infancy. Before Egypt was an established kingdom. And, we have no answers to this, but it makes perfect sense to me that the engineering geniuses who were able to build these pyramids and the Sphinx and why wouldn't they be able to engineer a light bulb?
Yeah. And the water erosion that I was talking about with the Sphinx too, there's a geologist that's slipping my name that's fucking pissing me off that I can't think, but it works with Randall Carlson is his name, that has worked with Graham Hancock because Graham Hancock had the theories. Then Randall Carlson, this guy, a geologist, basically had an acid trip and was like, wait a second, and kind of dawned on him where he's like, wait a second. And then they both together get into the erosion where there's been no sort of rainfall, on record or based off of the sediments and the rocks that are around that area that shows that there's been heavy rainfall in this area of the world by the Nile in 40,000 years, where it's like, wait a second. So if this sort of water erosion is 40,000 years old and we believe that the Sphinx is 20,000 years old, we only pretend to know about, prehistory, right? Stuff that, whatever people consider history is what's been written down. And a lot was lost in the great library, right, in Egypt of Alexandria when the Romans came in and fucked everything up and burnt that place to the ground. I think we lost a lot of knowledge along that way. Now, again, also, my buddy Rowan will tell me we'll learn it again, but...
We have to think about ancient Egypt. Their rulers, their leaders are notoriously known for erasing their own history. Other pharaohs were erased from ancient Egyptian history just out of pure spite.
Pettiness.
Hatshepsut was almost lost to time because her son made it a point to erase her. And he was not successful, thankfully, but we also have to kind of put blame where blame is due, Yes, a lot was lost when the Library of Alexandria fell, but how much more hundreds of thousands of years before that was lost due to human nature.
Exactly.
So there's so much that's...
And then you look at some of the other ones like Akhenaten, who almost all of the pharaohs are depicted in a way that, like any other ancient carving, like the statue of David, other than the little teeny penis, but having them, all, jacked up and, right? But then you look at Akhenaten, and he's got like this long, elongated skull and face and a big old belly. And long, skinny arms where you look at it and you're like, wait a second.
Exaggerated hips.
Yeah, and it almost looks like some sort of weird alien-looking thing. And I'm not going to say over here, I know Akhenaten was an alien, but I believe he was either the father or the grandfather of the infamous King Tut. So then it's like all these things just, to me, are so fascinating and they don't add up. And the more I get into it, the more questions I have, right? Whether you're a religious scholar, like I've been pretty fascinated with the Bible, that's a whole religious belief, whatever you want to believe. I'm more fascinated in it where people think it has answers. To me, you read the Bible, if anything, you should have more questions after you read that thing.
I could not agree more.
Right? Where you're like, what the fuck is this about?
It's a great storybook in a lot of instances. So I want to go back to Akhenaten. So I am fascinated by Akhenaten and the entire Amarna period as well. And it could very well kind of go back to what you were saying about like these awesome acid trips. So Akhenaten rises to power and suddenly he wants only one god, the sun god. What was he smoking? Because this means an entire nation has to change, an entire like dynasties of belief in multiple gods and multiple sources of life, and changing how the Egyptians, proceed into their next life, the afterlife. He had to fuck up a lot of shit. And for him
he
to
ruffled some feathers with that.
deeply resonate with him. In fact, King Tutankhamun, that was not his name at his birth. It was Tutankhaten. Aten was the original sun god that Akhenaten named him for.
Tutanka.
And because of the feathers that he ruffled during his time as pharaoh, King Tut had to change his name to disassociate himself with this radical belief set that his father tried to instill through Egypt. So that's honestly one of my favorite stories.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know. It's fun and wild to me how, kind of going back to, what we were saying earlier about how Egyptians they made their own shit up.
Yeah, way ahead of their time.
Exactly.
And especially in the sense where, again, we have all the technology in the world now. We have literally the Library of Alexandria and more in the palm of our hands. Something that back in ancient Egypt they would never even be able to contextualize. They had no idea what that would even mean. But we still can't figure out those fucking pyramids in the middle of the desert and
How
why
do
they're
they
there.
cut them so perfect like that back then?
Well, that's the
we
thing.
can't build shit like that right now.
Exactly. And it's
what the fuck?
how do we lose that?
Because here's my theory. All right. I believe.
If you say aliens, I'm walking out of here.
No.
Why? Because that's a possibility. It's a possibility.
I mean, I believe in that. Well, hold on. I don't want to get off this subject right now.
Tell me your theory. Tell me your
So
theory.
my theory is that we have evolved and devolved. And getting back to your nuclear glass. So what that is, when you go down to a certain depth in the planet, and you'll find this. These are extinction events where asteroids have hit the Earth, and nuclear glass is produced by these asteroids. What's that, Trinite? Something like that?
That sounds right.
And this has happened a few times, billions of years back. And this goes back to us talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson and the physics. And when you hear those guys talk about billions of light years away, and you can't grasp these figures. You can't wrap your mind around it. I'm sorry. You can't wrap your mind around these figures. But to them, it's like billion light years away is 100 light years away to us, or whatever. But this happened so long ago. This happened several million times probably. But they found this nuclear glass in several depths under the earth, and who's to say that what we're living now hasn't been experienced before millions of years ago?
That's what I believe.
And we devolved.
Died a million times and been reborn. The Earth has died a million times and been reborn a million times. Have you ever seen the movie Mother?
Civilizations are constant.
Absolutely.
We are living in an era where we are going to outgrow ourselves and we will ultimately crumble. And, you see this in civilizations throughout the course of history. And in so doing, the destruction of a civilization comes with the loss of information.
Oftentimes it does, yeah.
For sure.
I mean, think about if there was an extinction level event right now, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, COVID was nowhere near that. However, right, say COVID was what CNN wanted it to be the first week it happened, right? And it wiped out 98% of the earth. That 2% are the people who are living in the middle of nowhere in some Pacific island or deep in the jungle.
They don't know how to make an iPhone.
Exactly.
They don't know how to.
But they know how to
Wi-Fi.
survive.
Yes.
And then they're the ones who have to go and rebuild the earth
Start
with.
over.
How many times has that happened? So we've almost, like you were saying, gotten to a certain point and then set back. And with Graham Hancock, since you're a big Rogan fan, I would definitely suggest going back and finding the Graham Hancock episodes where he talks about the Younger Dryas, which is basically like the second ice age, where there is an impact crater up in Greenland or Iceland. I always get them confused. One of them up there, the cold one. And it appears as though
Greenland.
that
Sure.
whichever one Trump wanted to buy, Greenland. Where
isn't that fucked up that they call Iceland?
That was because the Vikings wanted to fuck with people. I think it was Eric the Red. I want to say, or Leif Erikson, one of those motherfuckers.
Oh wait, we just took that left.
Yes, we did.
But the point.
Leif Erikson,
SpongeBob. But basically that there's a crater and it looks as though that started the Younger Dryas, which is basically the second ice age, and it could have wiped out basically all of North and South America. Now the other side of the world might, like in Egypt or in China, probably wouldn't have felt the same effects, maybe to an extent of like a soda cloud that fogs the atmosphere up where you're not getting as much sun, some plants die, but resilient, the 2% that I was talking about, the hunter-gatherers of the world, the ones that aren't completely evolved maybe back then, are the ones who survive because they know how to survive without the technology that they have. Yeah. And then again, they get to rebuild the earth in their own way. So with the nuclear glass, right, that kind of goes hand in hand where that could have happened anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be just in that one impact crater. The same impact crater that they believe took out the dinosaurs is in like around Teotihuacan that we were talking about, like that sort of section of the earth. So if you've ever seen the movie Mother with Jennifer Lawrence, it's wild. You watch it the first time, you're like, what the fuck did I just watch?
I've seen it, but I can't remember it.
But if you kind of think about it, it's basically talking about, she is Mother Nature, without spoiling the movie too much, right? Spoiler it. But she's kind of Mother Nature, and she dies and gets reborn, and she's basically going through, as Jennifer Lawrence, she's going through, Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel and all these stories that we know of history of, our lives and what we're living through this go around. And at the end, spoiler alert, 15 seconds ahead if you don't want the movie ruined for you, she dies and then someone else comes out of the bed that she just died, and here we go again. And I totally believe that could have happened 1,000,001 times. And, like I was saying before, if COVID, say, wiped out most of the earth, us dumbasses, maybe you would, being a certified badass. I'm not. I would be gone in 2 seconds. I don't know how to use a friggin', I couldn't make fire out of sticks or whatever, but there's people in the jungle right now who'd be able to survive. It wouldn't be us who rely on our cell phones and talk into microphones and do shit like this. So it makes you wonder, even when you think about like Lost City of Atlantis and stuff like that, why couldn't there be things like that? Why couldn't of all those things?
Probably are.
I mean, we're America is Atlantis. We're the new Atlantis, right? And we're kind of just like a science experiment. And then there's no reason why all of a sudden, Bruce Willis isn't going to go and destroy an asteroid if it's coming our way. It's not going to work out like that. If it's coming our way, we're fucked. And we're going to die.
And it probably will.
And then guess what? We'll be reborn again, I believe.
Just hope it doesn't during our lifetime.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, bring the asteroid. We need it now. We don't deserve to live. I'm just joking. I know you've heard me say
sometimes
that before.
I feel that way. We need a real plague. Never mind this fucking COVID bullshit.
Educated discussion
Educated.
Here, and
you're talking right now.
You two are a power couple. I just gotta say, true power couple.
All right. So, wait, we're talking about Bruce Willis. All right.
But when it comes specifically to ancient Egypt, there's so many mysteries that you can just go deep, deep into the well of. And you joked about it better not be aliens. I mean, if you're familiar with, I'm not like a true aliens everything. Like I watch Ancient Aliens and I've seen a lot of it, but it's more for like, this is fun. Yeah. It's fun to watch. I would say if even 1 or 2% of what they're talking about, they're onto something. It was at least a fun ride to watch because there are some things where I'm like, oh, like for instance, I want to say Akhenaten, but it's not. It's the Anunnaki, which sounds similar to Akhenaten. But the Anunnaki, I don't know if you're familiar with that story, in the ancient story of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia, where basically they come from planet Nibiru, and it sounds so wild and silly. But with every crazy conspiracy theory or whatever you want to call it.
Is that where that fucking Jar Jar Binks came from? Goddamn,
maybe.
Worst
Fuck that guy,
Star Wars character ever.
Easily. George Lucas is still kicking himself, I hope, for that.
No,
but
shoot himself.
to every great conspiracy theory, I believe there is at least a kernel of truth behind it. So when you look back at the ancient, epic of Gilgamesh and the Anunnaki, and the whole story is, they need gold or whatever, which sounds silly, but turns out they need gold to help protect their atmosphere from the sun because they have this weird sort of ellipse of an orbit around the sun. So they find, the earth and there's gold, and they have the Mesopotamians mine for gold. Now, in 2015, there was actually astrophysicists who determined that if we do put some sort of gold infrastructure within our atmosphere, it will protect us against global warming. You can put those together or not. I'm still, big time speculation on that. I'm not really sure about. However, it's like, okay, well, maybe that's the kernel of truth. And the way the story goes is, okay, we were basically Neanderthals or primates basically back then, right? And this alien race comes down like, all right, we really need them to work for us, but they're too stupid. They won't be able to figure out. And they fuck with our DNA to help create us into the humans that we are today. Now, you can go back and look. There is a significant jump from Neanderthals and, even prior cavemen and all the scientific names, Homo sapiens, this and that, all this stuff, into what we are today. There's a gap in time where it's like, why was there such a big why does it work like that? And nowadays, right, it seems like that's science fiction bullshit. But nowadays, guess what? With CRISPR and what's going on with CRISPR, in China, they are legitimately messing with DNA to help create different types of people. Originally, it was made to help where people couldn't get HIV and AIDS. And then they're like, wait a second. We can actually mess with genes and mess with DNA. And maybe that leads to determining a baby's gender before, someone identifies a certain way or not. Or maybe that leads to superhumans. So at first, 50 years ago, it's like you hear that story. It's like, okay, that's just some stupid, L. Ron Hubbard science fiction bullshit messing with genes and DNA. When nowadays, well, guess what? It's possible, and it's proven through science, right? Trust the science. So now with more technology and the more stuff we know about today, when you hear these stories that, back in the 50s, people would poo-poo, it's like, well, actually, with what we have today, that actually is a possibility. Now, if there is some sort of alien race out there on planet Nibiru or whatever the fuck, they're going to be way ahead of us, right? So it sounds, I know a lot of religious people, and my mother included, would be like, oh, Joseph, don't talk about it. It's only Jesus and God. But, I mean, if there can be a God and there can be a Jesus and there can still be fucking aliens out there. There can still be other planets, right? And to me, nowadays, if they came and visited, they'd roll their eyes and be like, we're not wasting our fucking time with these stupid things.
And here's
right. But
here's my thing, though, man. Think about it like this. If there are more stars and planets than there are grains of sand on the planet Earth, why are we so arrogant to think that our little pebble, which means nothing, means nothing? What makes us so interesting to another race that they would travel millions, billions of light years away to come and be so, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, secretive, to not even like incognito to look on us? What makes us so special? Why do we think what we're thinking of, what this CRISPR thing is, and stronger humans and all this and DNA? This shit's probably already been done
a million times over.
Of
course.
But
think of it as like an animal at the zoo. If you watch a monkey, right? A monkey is the closest relative to us.
And they jerk off.
Right? They jerk off and they throw their shit at each other. But you go and you go to pay money and you go to the zoo and you watch them and you observe, right? I think we could be the fucking monkeys at the zoo. And there are things out there that are like, you know what? Don't fuck with them. There's some sort of, PETA of space that's like, don't fuck with those dumbass humans, but go watch them if you want. I'm not betting my life savings on it, but I'm just saying it's definitely a possibility. And when you talk about, if there's all these, more plants than grains of sand on the beach, which is true, right? I don't think that it necessarily means we wouldn't be, quote unquote, interesting to go observe, but I think the egotistical minds that us humans have makes us think a lot of people like, no, we're the only ones. We're the only ones, which is probably even scarier than that we're not the only ones. I think there's got to be other shit out there.
We're stupid if we think we're the only ones
right?
out here.
In are we the science experiment of some other
like the Matrix or something like that?
Well, yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Oh my
if you want to get into simulation theory, I can be here all night if you want. But
you know what?
Aliens out there who are going, wow, wait a second, let's see what these people are doing. And you know what? They're not evolving. Let's experiment.
Speed up the process.
And suddenly we have this quote unquote missing link between our predecessors to what we are today. And, archaeologists, anthropologists are still looking for the missing link.
Yeah.
What was the turning point between, us as hunter-gatherers and solely just survivors to the advanced species that we are today?
Yeah.
And that's a question I can't answer.
Yeah.
I can't sit here.
Nobody can, right?
Aliens did it. I don't subscribe to that personally. I think it kind of discredits what we as humans are capable of doing, especially when you think about the feat of going back to the pyramids. Why is it so wild to think that ancient Egyptians couldn't build these pyramids, but here we have the answer to every question in our lives right here in the palm of our hands. We are the same people.
Yeah.
So that's.
And what's funny is that you bring that back up. What's funny is in part of the ancient, Gilgamesh epic where he runs into these aliens from planet Nibiru, right? The Anunnaki. There is in the stories that one of the main people who came down and would communicate with humans and everything would carry a mirror. And he would go away and talk to the mirror and then come back and have information. Now, again, this is all speculation, all wild stories that could be completely false. But you hear that and it's like, this kind of sounds like that exact same thing that they're describing with a mirror coming down. It's like he's FaceTiming the guy at the mothership. It's like, what the fuck? These monkeys don't know what the fuck they're doing. Just mess with their DNA and make them smarter. Are you sure? This could fuck up the whole universe. Just fucking do it, all right?
And now here we are.
And here we are today, right? For all we know, it could.
Babbling idiots on a podcast. I love it.
Right? And and look how far I hope they're proud of us. But I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, and especially with all the new stuff that is coming out nowadays, right? With all these UFOs or whatever they call them now, UAPs. It does make you kind of scratch your head, and it does.
What does that stand for?
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
That is correct. We just talked about this.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it's clearly a thing that's going on, and it's been now the fact that you go back to like the Roswell days where it's like, no, that was a weather balloon. Where we know that wasn't a fucking weather balloon, right? Let's be real here. But now the government, who I think is incompetent anyway, but the government's like, yeah, actually, we have some shit that we can't explain and is from another planet. And then you get into like the Bob Lazar shit. I don't know how much you're familiar with Bob Lazar, where you listen to it.
And
where he was talking about element 115 in the 80s, and then
which is a propulsive system
exactly
that doesn't use any kind of like force, like fire or all into that. I know all about.
And he was talking about that in the 80s, and people were like, "You're a fucking loony." And then 2013, I believe, they're like, "Oh no, this isn't a real element." Where it's again like Alex Jones we talked about before, where each new day more information comes out, where it's like, maybe that guy wasn't so crazy after all, But I think that is the great mystery of life, right? Is like, why are we here?
And I'm just gonna circle back to it. Who was the guy that was like, I need a pyramid? And were the people of Egypt like...
Yeah, and why, right? What does it even do?
This fucking idiot. But
what is it?
I work for this guy. I'm going to make him a pyramid.
I think it's an energy source that we don't know how to use right now. It might be obsolete or out of commission right now for all we know. But the Earth, as we know, and the sun are huge sources of energy, right?
You think they're conduits or something like...
Why else would you spend so much time and effort and have it be so great, like just for show, just to flex. That seems pretty silly, especially when they weren't stupid. They weren't like this dumb civilization that did things for no reason. They spent a lot of time.
Do this for the sun god. No, it can't be that simple.
I think
and I don't
it's more than
believe
that.
It's that simple. As someone who truly believes that, when you die, you cross the river Nile, if you will, and you go on to an afterlife or another
Anubis judges you.
Maybe. Either you proceed into another plane of existence, and no matter what, you pass from one life to the next, whatever the next life is. It just can't be as simple as like, we have to touch the sun god, so let's make a pyramid.
Yeah, because they weren't that dumb.
They were putting in that much effort.
Yes. They were way smarter than we are right now, I bet, in a lot of ways, right? Because if you have less technology to use, you have to use, whether it's more of your brain through psychedelics or not, or more resources of the earth rather than, let me type it on my phone and find the answer. Let me Google machine it, right? And that's the thing, too. And another problem with all of this that we're talking about is the scientific community, which Graham Hancock really gets into, is they're too competitive with each other, where, like similar to Bob Lazar, too, where he was told, like, you work on just this and you don't tell anyone about it, and this scientist works on just this and you don't tell anyone about it, when really they should have been working together, and they put your minds together and you can actually figure this shit out. But the incompetent American government was like, no, let's split these people up because we don't want people to know that we got some alien craft that we don't know what to fucking do with. So when it comes to the scientific community, these guys, you 1989, you win a Nobel Prize on this theory that you had. And then it comes out 25 years later, well, actually, this kind of contradicts your theory. We're not taking your prize from you or canceling you or, like Reggie Bush taking away his Heisman or anything like that. But now we have new information, and some of these scientists or people in the scientific community are like, fuck you with your new theory. I won a fucking Nobel Prize with this. Don't bring that shit up.
Well, that's the point of like the evolution of these.
It's
theories.
anti-science.
We're drawing, we're connecting the dots here. You had this brilliant concept, which then we were able to build a bridge into another brilliant concept. What is the problem with connecting the dots here in these concepts?
Pride.
Regardless, and that just fucking drives me nuts.
Yeah, and that's a huge problem, and that's why, like, for instance, Göbekli Tepe. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but basically it's like in Turkey, around that area of Turkey. And at the time, I think it was actually some random guy who owned the land stumbled upon something. I was like, what the fuck is this? And they got archaeologists, and they excavated it. And it was actually proven to be buried by man. This whole, basically, community where if you Google Göbekli Tepe, I don't think there's an L in Tepe. I think it's Göbekli Tepe, which is a tough word to say for me. But either way, right, you find this, and they believed at this time in human history, we were just hunter-gatherers. But you see this basically lost civilization where they have three-dimensional sculptures of, you see like cave paintings, and you even see like the hieroglyphs of Egypt. They're digging into the wood or the stone to make, that type of image or whatever. Whereas they were carving around the stone to make three-dimensional images in a time that we thought they were just hunter-gatherers and weren't capable of having civilizations at all. So that completely changed the game, and a lot of people let's not talk about this because I won a Nobel Prize about how we were hunter-gatherers at this point in time, and I just would prefer if you don't talk about this. And it's like, what? That's the most anti-science thing I've ever heard. Science should always be moving, always be asking questions, always exactly.
Always drawing new conclusions, creating new questions.
It's ignorant.
Well, nowadays science doesn't matter.
Well, sure.
I mean,
unless you're Fauci, right? But we won't get into that. But anyway,
that's a whole other.
That's a whole nother show. That's for the next time, right?
Hey, look, Joe. We've enjoyed this. We could go on all fucking
Sorry
night.
about the whole nerd hour.
I mean, but man, this gives us a great chance to have you back on.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I appreciate it, man. You got anything you want to plug? I hate to end this, but I might run out of space on my hard drive.
Of course, I
just
we've been going.
Know.
It's like 9 at night now.
Yeah, man.
Well, the thing is, again, Drinkin Bros Sports, Tailgate Legends, me and Tansy. every Drinkin Bros show. Definitely go check out, but specifically ours, subscribe, like, and all that shit. But Tansy doesn't understand why I don't have more Instagram followers. I'm under 500, and I'm a little butthurt about it, too.
You might
so
have
go
more
follow
than
me
that.
on Instagram. It's at BostonJoe16. There's not 15 before me. It's 16 is just my number. Just the thing. We can get into that next time, maybe. But give me a couple more followers, because I don't understand. I should have way more. Yeah. Right? And that's the thing, too. I don't look bad in my profile pic, too, right? Little black and white.
Single ladies, follow Joe, Boston Joe.
And my number is 7. I'm just kidding.
But no, you have success stories from,
Oh, yeah.
other
Yeah, Bobcat, right? When
finding-
his lovely lady. That's
I
awesome.
mean,
Well,
it happens,
story.
man.
Shout out to Bobcat out there.
Well,
yes,
hey,
Drinkin Bros Sports, Tailgate Legends, all the Drinkin Bros stuff. Watch, subscribe, all that. And follow Boston Joe 16 on Instagram. That's
Well,
me.
Joe, thanks for coming on, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bam.
I don't
Laura,
have
you got
anything
anything left?
That's bad luck.
Oh, that's water, yeah.
How mad would you be if I was like, you sound like that Sam Adams commercial?
Yeah, cousin from Boston.
From Boston.
Boston.
I've been called worse.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just hearing you talk. And,
No, it's okay.
I hate how much I listen to the classic rock station because that's like the only.
I love classic rock.
commercials
We didn't even
that
talk
I hear.
music. Jesus.
We didn't talk,
shit.
man. This just went on. This is, we could literally
It's like a
keep
Joe
going.
Rogan episode.
We could literally keep going.
Look, do you
this
want
might
to
be.
Joe Rogan or not? We're going for
I have
4
to edit
hours.
this shit. I have to sit
4
right
hours.
here and listen to this again and go through it all.
Let it breathe for a day.
But yeah, hey,
Ancient
not-
Egyptians built pyramids.
Hey, I mean, it wasn't that far of a drive. I'll come on whenever you guys want me to.
bro, we enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure she did, minus the sports shit. I could, yeah.
Oh,
We
But,
gave
I mean,
we gave her the
It was
second
worth
half.
it.
I was
We had her in the
redeemed
first half, but we
Yeah.
gave her the second half.
second
Right?
half.
After I beat her
with
ass in
the
trivia.
nerd hour.
By the way,
Congratulations.
I can
As
sex
he,
better than you. Confirmed from our
oh,
sex trivia.
Okay, I feel
yeah.
like that's low key his fault.
Okay. Hey, anyway.
Anyway,
Hey, this has been another episode of Hammer. Thanks again to Joe Conroy for being on the show. Thanks, Laura. We'll see you next time.
Bye.